Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Kingdoms of Discordia Aftersaints stream. I hope everyone's doing well. A little bit liquored up, a little bit maybe energized from the guys' stream. We're gonna go ahead and dive right into things. There we are.
Initially retarded did it.
No.
All right, guys, it's up.
It makes you dead.
So,
Yeah, it scrambles your brain.
It deads
Scrambles
you.
your brain out so bad you're dead.
You're gonna get deaded.
Anyways.
But either way, it's an interesting technology thing and all that, and it's cool, but it is not one of the reasons to read Hyperion. Well, maybe it is, but it has
There's
nothing
something
to
to
do with
comment
my
on
Yeah.
the stream.
what's up?
stream. Shit, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, it's going right now.
Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime. I'm like halfway through it, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
The way
yeah.
I would probably say, like,
The manga is probably a lot better.
you know all that shit that we, like, fucking revere.
Know that.
Remember, like, like all that shit we fucking revere? It's like, oh, it was so awesome. If you look at it with, like, fresh eyes nowadays, and just like, oh, dear God, what the hell
I
are we
just-
thinking?
I just feel like it's one of those things that works better in like manga form or something.
It
Like-
did. I can tell you
Yeah.
exactly why.
It's just like the whole tournament arc. Like at some point when you're old enough, you're like, okay, well they're gonna win. So it's kind of like takes the suspense out of it.
You want a good tournament arc that doesn't necessarily do that. My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Because
I'm not
that-
finished
the
your
whole-
shit, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
like I just remember the comic being like so good. I remember like the actual manga itself being sick, and I'm watching the anime and it's good, but I'm just like, it's just like it's so. I mean, it's a product of one. It's old. It's old AF. It's
But that's
fucking
not
old.
not
And the
exactly the
animation
problem.
sucks, and holy shit, the writing sucks. Holy shit.
Okay,
Like,
so here's
just
what's
the
going on.
dialogue.
I don't think it's
Dude,
writing, I think
snack,
it's more
snack. I can explain all this exactly. Here's what's going on. It's all you can say it's like all these different cliches and shit, but that's not exactly what it is, because you can find something just as old that has a tournament arc, or at least a structured series of fights arc that's not necessarily a tournament, that's still good, right? What the problem and where like the dude at the end wins, and you know that's gonna happen, and it's still good. Now, the problem that you're running into is, first off, you read much faster than you watch, generally speaking. You can also encode a lot of information differently because you're imagining all the motion. So when you look at like a page, you can have all these little like notes in the margins and thought bubbles and all that stuff. But when you're doing that in, a show, you have to actually narrate all that shit. So you have to have somebody talking through all that. So you can have one page that takes 5 minutes of an episode to actually put in there, right? Then on
Yeah.
top of that, you've got all these things where you're getting, maybe 20 pages of a chapter per week, right? And so they're, and they're also releasing, and let's say an episode a week. So you have 20 minutes for 20 pages. So it doesn't have all that dialogue or all that stuff, and it's just fights. They're supposed to look really fast. They have to slow it down somehow, which they do by dragging out the dialogue and dragging out the charging up of attacks and all that shit, right?
Triggables.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah,
this is
that's
exactly
exactly
that's what I meant
happens.
by old. This is actually what I meant. I meant
Yeah.
by when I said old, I actually mean like part of the issue is they rely heavily on the fight aspect. Like what's cool about it is them fighting and the abilities, but part of since it's old, the effects aren't as impressive. And in the manga, like your brain fills in that stuff and it imagines like all the extra movements and things that it does.
Right, but you're gonna see that with
kind of-
almost anything.
Yeah.
I mean, like
And so
look at
that's
the original Gundam. Like the original Gundam, first like Mobile Suit Gundam, it's dated. It's much older animation.
Oh, are they?
It's
Yeah, they came out in the 70s.
yeah, but
Wow.
when you watch the damn thing, it's engaging because there's
Yeah.
all kinds of shit going on emotionally with the characters and everything stakes to it. And a lot of what happens or that I see like with a lot of these kind of older shonen animes is that there's a lot of fights that don't have any fucking stakes. It's more like, hey, watch this dude fight because he's strong, and we're going to show how badass this character is because he's going to show off his new technique, and it's going to be
It's
really
more or less
cool.
setting up the stakes, is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So then
I'll be
you have
honest.
that big
Yeah, and I'm saying like
boss
that,
fight at
that
the
stuff,
end of the
that
season.
stuff like
yeah?
ages more poorly than other things. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
first time you watch it can be badass. But yeah,
I
a
know.
lot of it is that the animation's dated for sure, that the effects aren't as good. But this is the pacing problem that you see with anything. One Piece has it, Bleach has it, Naruto has it, Dragon Ball Z has it. Pretty much any show in
Just
anime
the
that's been
god awful
adapted.
bastard son
Yeah.
of this
Well,
problem.
that had it in the manga. That
The
had it
manga
there
was
too.
nowhere near as bad as slow. Like
Yeah.
outside of it obviously had its problems, but the fights in the anime and the fights in the manga were completely fucking different in pacing.
Right, and we're seeing that actually get a lot better with some of the more recent releases, because what they'll do now is they'll do the seasonal thing, where they'll basically be like, all right, we're going to adapt this much. All of that has already come out in the manga, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we're
Fuck,
going
I'm out
to
of
do
cigarettes.
winter season, 14 episodes, done. We're going to wait till the next winter to drop another, 14 episodes.
Yeah, they did.
And that gives all this time for content to come up, for them to animate all this shit, for them to plan stuff, for them to storyboard, for them to do everything, rather than being on that rigid schedule of episode a week, every fucking week. If we catch up, we gotta just put in filler and hope it works.
The fuck are you talking about?
Good evening.
Anime.
Oh my God.
Hey, Nick.
I didn't even
Anime
know that
series.
they did that. I didn't know they did that. They would really do that, like an episode a week of anime.
Why
That
do you
seems like the
think they had
worst
filler?
idea ever.
No, yeah, pretty much. Why do you think
That sounds like a horrible idea. Like I would have vetoed that shit immediately. I would have been
Why
like,
do
no,
you
like.
no? Why do you think seasons are like 26 episodes long? Because it would be like on season, off season. So you basically do 26 new episodes and then reruns for the other half of the year, right? And so now we're doing
Yeah,
it down to like 14 for like 2 months maybe. But that's
I mean,
that's
that seems
what
so
they
much
fucking
better.
do.
Yeah, it seems so much smarter to like take the full year and then like polish out like the seasons versus like being on like a weekly schedule. Just seems like a recipe for shitty show. Like I can't
think about what this
anything
is
that would
coming
work
from.
like
No,
that.
snack, hold the fuck on. Think about what this is coming from. These shows weren't just like, oh, let's make a thing and put it out on Netflix. This was like on nationally syndicated TV in Japan and then later in America. So it's like, what is your Saturday morning cartoons? Dragon Ball Z. Gotta pump that shit out every goddamn week. Right? That's what you're watching. You're watching the Saturday morning cartoons from 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
That's where that came
I
from.
mean, I still don't see why they would need to be on that. Like, there's so many other shows that
Because
work.
that's how
like,
TV was done. It's not
I
about like,
know,
yeah.
how do we adapt this and make it the best crafted series? It's how do we make a 26 episode show, doing this
no
like
wonder
an episode every
Frieza-
week and then an off season.
Yeah.
Wonder
It's
Frieza arc
because
took
that's
so
how
long.
TV
No
was
wonder
fucking
Frieza
done.
arc was so retarded.
Just say Japan is different. Get over it. That's what I.
Pretty
No,
much.
it's not even
I'll be
Japan is
honest,
different.
dude.
Get over it, because it's what happened here too. It's the way TV
Exactly.
was done there and the way it was done here. And
God,
most
I'm so
of the big
happy that's
changes
over.
you're seeing, most of the big changes you're seeing is with things like movies and OVAs doing really well over here with sales and shit like that. So all of a sudden you have these online distribution platforms, Crunchyroll, Netflix, Amazon, even though Netflix and Amazon are shit. All the stuff that's going on with that is that now you can put out a polished product, put it out over here and over there. People will watch it. They like to binge watch it. They'll buy merch. They'll buy all kinds of other shit. And no one's fucking watching TV. So you're not slaves to the
Yeah.
fucking,
Good.
22-minute
I'm so
time slot.
happy.
You have no idea how fucking slave I am about to make you.
It feels so good
Oh,
to
dear.
Be reliant on
Who
TV.
is that?
Well,
That's
snacks.
Nick.
It's Nick.
I
The fuck is this?
I'm not in what's it, Django?
Through my fucking microphone, and that's
that Nick
because you
Crompton?
kept fucking going. Yes, it is. This is
Nick
what
Crompton?
this is Saints fucking purgatory.
It's
where
every
you're
day, bro.
punished for your sins until you can ascend. Of
What if I
combat.
decent into VC2? Are you gonna follow me there? Probably not. Not worth it.
Oh, what's that?
Nick,
you want
do you
I
like
could, I
anime?
could
Oh,
descend to VC2.
Sorry, wait a second. You want me to fucking?
But yeah, snack.
There we go. Now you can't even fucking understand what they're singing.
I can understand a little bit. But that,
Yes.
then again, I've listened to the album
Last
too many
example
times.
I could give you.
At least it's a good album.
Wait, say again. I'm sorry.
So
Hold
snack.
on, hold
You remember
on.
Naruto, right?
Hold on. Shut the fuck up, everyone.
I'm Naruto.
There we go.
Brett
By the
will
way,
continue
Nick-
later.
By the way, Nick, we're all being streamed right now by Gator, so you are still on TV.
Oh, Gator.
Yeah.
Really?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Why
The
did
the
you do that?
the after show?
Pre-show and an after show.
Because you can't get away from Big Brother. He's always recording you.
What's the link for the app?
He's always watching.
Don't worry, there's
Wait,
there's
wait,
Yeah,
lip-
actually, Gator, you can probably put a link to this shit.
I put it in cross promote actually. Centris is watching, and
Oh,
I got time to
cool.
watch
Yeah.
myself.
Look at
Yes.
that, using
It's
the
like
correct
looking-
discords.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Oh god, we're in the.
of course I gotta use the correct stuff. What do I look like? Some sort of
Oh god.
barbarian mongoloid?
Oh yeah,
know you are
Gator,
Mexican.
Gator. Did you get that link? Because that'll,
No, it's not racist.
that'll
Yeah,
make
yeah.
the voice thing a little better.
I've got that, but what's it? I didn't know if I could implement it while the stream's already running. So
Yeah, you can.
oh, you can.
Because it's a browser source. If you just put in a new browser source and it's just.
Anyways,
pulling
Brett, what were you
source.
saying to me? You were saying something?
He asked if you wanted to, if you are familiar with Nardo. That's what it
Naruto. Yeah.
Naruto.
I mean, like
Naruto?
Shippuden. I kind of like. I tried to watch more, but it just kind of like.
Yeah.
It's really, really long, and there's a lot of like
Wait.
filler stuff, and eventually
Are you
kind of like.
saying it dragged because the pacing was fucked? Oh.
Yep.
I mean,
it's just boring shonen shit.
Here's what I,
Yeah.
here's what I
Also,
think
it's
what happened.
trash. It's
Well,
a
here's my
weak
big
trash.
problem.
The original wasn't so bad. Like it was okay, and then like it just the story never ended, and it never went any. I don't know. Like they just didn't
Have you never
wrap it
watched
up.
any shonen? They're all like that.
Yeah,
no,
well, that's
I mean
the
a lot of them
that's the
end
problem with shonen.
like okay, brother.
Are we back in this conversation?
Saying they're all like that doesn't vindicate the problem.
Yeah.
It's really just.
A bad shonen.
Here's the problem with
They got
shonen.
burned
It
out on
is,
shonen in the late '80s, suffering through. Oh, what the fuck was it? I remember
I made a.
fighting anime with Ranma 1/2.
Why'd you care?
Ranma
You want me
wasn't a
to
shonen.
fucking blow your
Ranma
mind here?
was-
I read the Ron. I read. I actually bought all the mangas back in the day of Ron
Yep.
1/2, and I liked it. Maybe that stuff just works better in manga form.
A lot of it does. You'd be
Because your
surprised.
brain fills out like the fights. Because that like I was saying with Yu Yu Hakusho, like in the anime form, like so many fights run this sort of formula where it's kind of like the good guy hits and the bad guy doesn't get hurt, and then he gives he reveals his ability, and then he hits him a few times, and then the good guy like gets on him and he gets one good hit in, and then he wins. And that like doesn't work in anime form, but in manga form, that would work because your brain could fill in like, oh yeah, he hit him and they fought a bunch of times, but they only bothered like drawing the part where they win, right?
Snack.
But in
you also
anime,
gotta
you're just
understand,
like,
like, you also gotta understand it. At the time these shows were coming out, and even up until recently, who are they writing for?
Japanese.
Who?
No, fucking 12-year-olds. They're Saturday morning
Weebs.
cartoons, motherfucker.
Yes.
yeah,
They're
no,
not
I
just
get
correct,
that.
and that's
I
upset about
do get that. So that's why I'm like toughing it out. But
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah,
mean I don't
once
sit there
again-
and notice these issues.
You know what?
To be fair-
The thing to blow your mind there is that JoJo. JoJo's a
Yeah.
pretty good fucking show, right?
Oh yeah.
JoJo's a shonen.
Heard of it? That's
Yeah.
pretty
JoJo's
much-
Yeah,
still
it
going
is.
on.
What's JoJo?
It's amazing, is what it is.
Death Watch. Also,
Oh no,
Nick.
you have.
Wait, no,
have anime.
hold on. No, Brad, shut up. Nick, what is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
There you have the summary of the entire show.
We will let our Lord and Savior Nick Gorath explain what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is to you when he gets back.
Yep,
No, I'm already fucking back. Yeah.
because we love
Yeah.
you.
No, how to describe the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Are you talking about the anime?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So you started out, and you will immediately think that, you will immediately think, well, this is as weird as it can fucking get, and then you will find yourself wrong,
At every possible step of the
entirely
way.
fucking wrong.
Have you watched Puni Puni Plenty?
Fuck off.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fun.
they're gonna say
No.
PewDiePie.
The
Yes,
fuck is
I love how we had already decided on JoJo for Jeff well before tonight.
Listen,
yeah.
there's one fucking epic, wonderful fucking anime you could put together to introduce someone to why this shit is enjoyable. JoJo is a fucking brilliant example of that, and that's
To
because
show them anime, like the as of in general.
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
no, to
Really?
to
yeah.
show them- to
Brotherhood?
show-
I feel like Brotherhood's better.
No.
Uh,
Zach, what you have to
well,
understand is that
Brotherhood's amazing,
almost
but-
everything that came after JoJo is a JoJo reference because
Or Berserk
JoJo the
reference,
manga
or-
started in fucking like '86, and everything after that referenced it.
Yeah, it's pretty much the big three references are all either JoJo, Berserk, or Devilman.
DBZ.
Yeah.
So Simpsons of the anime world.
In
Pretty
some
much,
ways, yeah. I mean, like, what's his name? The guy. For some reason I can't remember his name. But the guy who writes and illustrates JoJo, like the manga, which is still going. He's the only manga artist who's ever had his work shown in the Louvre.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember hearing
Yeah.
that. I remember hearing that.
That's pretty crazy.
It's probably more accurate to say that The Simpsons is the American cartoon JoJo version.
Yeah.
There's the
No,
US
Simpsons
American.
started way earlier.
Yeah, I'm an American. So
Can I get a beer?
Go
Yeah.
get America. We did it first.
But on top of that, JoJo is just like you'd be hard pressed to find something that is at the same time as good and fun and enjoyable as JoJo for someone who's completely new to anime.
I've never seen JoJo. I actually don't know what that
shit
is.
fucking weird.
Fucking Lagan.
I've actually never seen it.
Gurren Lagann is good too.
I didn't say you couldn't find one. Hey, I didn't say you couldn't find one. I said you'd be hard pressed. But like something that's batshit weird and really fucking enjoyable and understandable for someone who's like new to the fucking like just.
I mean, you could do like
Gurren Lagann's
Fully
amazing.
Cooley too.
People started
JoJo's
watching
amazing.
Steins Gate
Evangelion
is
first.
really good.
Great.
I do
No,
kind of
no,
feel
no,
bad for the people that started watching Evangelion first.
Has anybody
yeah.
seen the new Devilman Crybaby? Because I watched it and I'm not entirely sure how.
I'm not giving Netflix my money, so I haven't.
I've been
Devilman Crybaby is like if you've ever read the manga itself, it's pretty much spot on, just modernized. Though at the same time, Devilman Crybaby's fucking story arc and the way that they fucking carrot tease the entire time is like, oh, it's gonna get better. Everything's gonna be happy. No.
I find myself thinking about it, but not in a way that like, oh, that was good. Just like, wow, that was disturbing as fuck.
That was a thing.
It was very depressing.
That was really fucked up, and that's about as far as it goes.
In all honesty, I just got done watching the most expensive Mother's Day gift of all time, to be honest.
Which was
What?
Full Metal Alchemist.
God damn it! Fuck you.
God, that's just wrong, man. That's just wrong.
The Father's Day gift.
Okay,
Where-
why do people in this group hate Netflix and Amazon? I'm just curious.
Because Amazon and
Alright,
Netflix
then.
are fucking scams.
I like Netflix.
Pirate
It doesn't have enough fucking
Well,
shit on
Ned's
it.
angry at everything, so you can't take his word for anything.
Pretty much.
Do you want a real
That
answer?
seems to be the case. Perpetual anger.
Do you want a real answer?
Yes, that's generally why I ask questions.
Okay, so I don't hate Netflix. I have Netflix. I use Netflix. I never use Amazon Prime, right? But that's just because reasons. Don't worry about it. As for why those hatreds are mentioned, for where it's like Netflix and as for where like Netflix and Amazon are garbage, it's not that they're garbage platforms; it's that they're garbage platforms for streaming and adapting and naturalizing anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see that.
they're not-
there's a
they're
lot
not-
of shit that they don't do.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're not
But
bad.
that's why you have
They're not-
Crunchyroll for anime. So.
Right,
Right, they're
except
not-
you have a bunch of shit that's Netflix and Amazon exclusives that can't be on Crunchyroll because either Amazon or Netflix owns the exclusive
Hence,
rights to
fucking
it.
recreators, which I want to watch.
Crunchyroll has
usually
exclusives.
It's competition between streaming rights. I mean, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, no,
but
Crunchyroll
action.
does have exclusives. The problem is that Crunchyroll's good at what it does, and Netflix and Amazon aren't. So you have people who are sitting here like, well, I sure would like to, watch the streaming, or like watch the shows that I want to watch, except instead of just being able to go like kind of watch the shows at a decent fucking service, I have to go use a really shitty service to do it, and then pay money for the privilege of having my face punched with a brick, and just to see this show, or I could just go pirate the damn thing and watch people who fan subbed it who did a pretty good job and see it 2 months earlier.
Yeah,
for free.
like that's the thing. Pirating, they'll do it eventually. I mean, they're starting to sort of like beat out that shit. Like pirating used to be so much more widespread and like necessary. It's getting better. Like stream, they'll do it eventually, and they're gonna make like pirating services harder and harder to get. But I mean,
most of that though, most of those improvements.
I downloaded the Yu Yu Hakusho shit, dude. They cut out the theme song, they cut out the ends and the intro shit. It's amazing. You watch it, it's beautiful.
Snack. Listen, most of those improvements are coming from services like Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll does compete very well with pirate, pirate services.
Okay, good. Then that's what they have
to
do. That's what I'm saying.
No, they put out a quality product. They're doing fine. Amazon and Netflix aren't.
Be the pirate. They actually used to be the pirate.
Netflix recently added that button, like the skip intro button, for some shows, and I was like, I couldn't believe that it took them that long to do that.
Yeah,
Blue,
honestly,
I
like,
was like-
you want a good breakdown on it? Go watch. I want to say Gigok had a thing about it.
I
And
think
wanna
we
say
just
Mother's
posted
Basement
it.
had a thing about it.
I believe you. I was just
Yeah.
curious. But
No,
yeah.
that like those videos are really solid breakdowns of the actual problems and the state of things and like what's going on with piracy and not. It's worth it. It's worth a watch.
On what is
interesting.
it?
Let me go find the video. There's,
did.
there's-
It's in
It's
voice
in-
text
yeah.
one.
I just did.
Citrus just posted it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, here's good. I thought that sounds like something Mother's Basement would be more likely to do.
No, I think they've both done one, but I think Gigux is probably the better one in all honesty.
Okay, because I haven't watched either one.
So Crunchyroll, we're gonna basically Tuesday. We're gonna be fucking Crunchyroll streaming JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for Jeff for 2 hours, right?
Yep.
Fuck yeah, man.
Pretty much.
When
So
is
which
it?
means you can get all the
Tuesday?
way through the first arc, I think.
But
You can go through more than the first arc.
I
Two,
don't
2
think.
hours, 6 episodes.
I don't
so
think.
almost through the first arc.
Halfway
I
through
don't
the
think-
first arc.
Okay,
Don't think
hold
what?
on, let
Spit it
Citrus
out.
talk.
I don't think Crunchyroll has the dub, just the sub.
The sub is good though. I love the sub.
There's a reason I pay them fucking money for a fucking premium membership. Is because I was convinced by a friend who said, "Watch this." That's how that happened.
That's how that
Yeah,
happened.
the sub is fantastic. Yeah, what's it called? With the fuck brain. God damn it. Never mind.
Stupid brain.
Yeah, no.
Soup
forgot
for
shit.
brains.
Sorry. I've got that too.
But no, the biggest problem I have with Amazon is that they're sucking up everything.
Yeah, the same way that Google was, except Google was making everything. Amazon's just acquiring everything.
They're the
then
two
Netflix
original
are
mega
doing
goods, so
that too.
soon we'll have Shadowrunners and things running around. So there'll be Google,
Horizontal
Amazon, Disney.
integration.
And it's like I would love to not have to pirate this shit. Like hell, I'll pay my fucking $8 for Crunchyroll. Like fuck it, I'll support these people. But it's like I don't want to give Jeff Bezos any more money.
Honestly,
Fuck,
one of the main
you find
reasons
it
I support
Google
You
as a
can't
search
fight
engine?
horizontal integration.
the Marvel stuff. The Marvel TV shows they're putting out are fucking tops.
You can't
I
fight
actually
it.
haven't.
It just
I haven't
happens.
watched the
Dude,
Marvel TV shows.
Punisher is the Marvel John Wick. It is amazing. It is great.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Oh, it was good. It was so
It wasn't Punisher.
good.
It was the MU's for the M's. It was Netflix's version of Punisher, not actual Punisher.
I'm still not seeing the problem here.
It
That's
was a
still
very,
Yeah,
Punisher.
very low T
It was
Punisher.
still really good.
Well, you have Netflix versions of Death Note, and then you have Japan's version of Death Note.
Yeah, but it
Which
says
one?
very-
There are several.
There actually are 2 live-action Death Note movies from Japan, I think.
I
More than
watched
2.
3 or 4.
There's
More than 2.
3.
I heard there are a few, and we don't talk about them.
Because there was actually one that
From
edited
what
like
I've
the
heard,
complete
they're
ending.
not bad. Like the Japan live action Death Notes are apparently not bad.
They are. They're pretty good.
Which is weird
seen
because live-action
Really?
Japanese
Okay.
anime adaptations are fucking garbage usually.
Yeah, I heard Attack on Titan.
Just the ones
But to
Every
be
last
fair,
one.
but to be honest, as because Death Note is largely a cerebral thing. It's largely it's like a crime drama. It's easier. That's a lot easier to do as a live action opposed to say Attack on Titan or a Naruto.
Yeah,
because
Attack on
it's-
Titan would be like special effects based,
that
right?
Movie,
Yeah, the only special
Um,
effects they had to use was Ryuk, and that was it.
yeah. I mean, you tend to lose that bit of movie magic in between transitioning from animation to real life. That's why some things just can't happen in movies. Like you couldn't imagine a Dragon Ball Z live action movie.
Yeah, every
We
time they've
tried.
tried, it's been
Just
like
wouldn't
it's
work.
been
Yeah.
so bad. It's
Well,
just
it's also they don't sit there and try and keep it faithful to the original content. That's one of the biggest issues that they do face. If they got some sort of like really well in athletic martial arts experts, put them in the show. Tried to make everybody look at least roughly the way that they should, and actually stick to a lot of the core dialogue and what have you in the show itself, then it would probably go a lot better. I mean, I can imagine that it would.
Like, look at the last scene between Smith and Neo. That's pretty much a Dragon Ball Z fight right there.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And it was great. It was awesome to watch.
One of the problems you run into with adaptation from animation to live action is also, it sounds weird to say this, but with how fast you can be. And I'm not talking about like just the oh, let's jump cut and someone's over here now, or let's play a noise and draw motion lines and none of the characters, and hey, look, they definitely just attacked each other.
I'm cool with motion lines.
No, that's another thing, but that's not what I'm talking
It's
about.
like Samurai Champloo, for instance, great
Yeah.
example, or
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop, alternately.
Yeah.
Both of them, they show the motion of the hits, and they also make it they make it quick enough to the point where you could never do it that fast, but they also show you enough to the point where you know how fast it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Aren't those two
I get what you're
anime
saying.
made by the same person, or?
Yep.
They are.
Thought so.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the thing you run into. There's a video I'll post at some point where you see two comparable scenes in like live action and animation. One of them being, or the action being performed is somebody slipping a note into their pocket. In the animation, it was 10 frames. In the live action, it was 49. So there's motions where you can put every single bit of it. You're not like skipping stuff, but your eye can read it faster. So you can draw it faster as well. So you end up with being able to do all this really sharp, subtle shit in animation that just cannot be done as quickly in live action.
Well, here's an interesting question: which animes would make decent live action? I vote for Bebop because of
Ghost in the Shell. Sorry.
I generally speaking say none, Sean.
Ghost in the Shell pissed me off. The live action.
If they stuck
I
to
haven't seen
source
it.
material again,
To quote Gigak on that.
It was ridiculous. They had a
Hold
white
on,
lady playing an
hold on.
Asian role.
Oh no!
It wasn't
just a
that.
shit
Shut
film.
up.
Disregarding that, it's a shit film. No matter who they had playing her, it's still would have
I'm joking.
To quote someone a YouTuber I'm rather fond of, I went out and saw that and I thought, oh my god, it's just so adequate.
It wasn't even.
It was okay.
It was
okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't
Again,
great. It was okay.
I
Whenever
hate
people say a
Scarlett
film is
Johansson. I'm
garbage.
so sick of her shit. I'm so sick of Scarlett Johansson.
No, the thing
Okay.
when people say
Too
is like,
much
"Oh my god, it was a fucking garbage." It's literally like, what were your expectations and why were they that high?
No,
So
it's
what?
just
expectations were not high at all.
diverted from
Were
the
your
source
expectations
material. Like, they
anywhere
made it about
above
the
Dragon Ball
philosophy
Evolution?
of the
My
world
hopes were
in
high.
some
My
not that
expectations
one.
were low.
See,
My
that's
hopes
the thing.
were high. My expectations were low.
You hoped. You don't hope.
Hope
I'm
is
worried about
Hope is a
Scarlett
dangerous
Johansson.
thing.
It's really
Hope
good. Like
kills,
really
man.
going
Hope
in,
fucking kills.
going in with no expectations or extremely low expectations makes for a really great time. Like I saw the new Jumanji, and I had like the lowest expectations possible, and then I thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
The movie was
I
fucking
actually
hilarious.
really
That was
enjoyed it.
that was
I
great.
surprised by that. They
It
did
was
a
like
really good job.
surprisingly funny.
Only-
it's a joke.
How
movie,
is
but
that
it was surprisingly
surprising?
good.
Fucking The Rock was in it. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Well, the only downside was like Van Pelt.
Like if you go in with, I didn't even know The Rock was going to be in it. I had no idea.
Favorite joke. This is so
That's
convenient.
why.
The best
No,
joke in the whole thing.
But
Goodbye,
no,
little guy.
They did a
Okay,
great
well,
job of like, I mean, even the actors, they did a good job of like not looking like they are in their body. They like were still out of body, or like it was weird that they were controlling these different bodies. They did a good job. Like they actually did. I was really surprised.
And
But
calling
no,
out that type of thing on its tropes, like the wearing next to nothing in the jungle shit. That was pretty.
Yeah, they really kept, they didn't lose the plot. Like some movies, like the first 30 minutes will be funny, and then they realize that they have a plot they have to tie up, and they lose all the jokes. But like they actually had jokes all the way through. It was like surprisingly good.
But,
I
I don't know.
cared about
You guys remember the most recent rendition of a 21 Jump Street, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That was a movie I had no
22 Jump
expectations,
Street?
no hope. 21 Jump Street. It was the first one.
22
Channing Tatum.
like 22 Jump Street, I
okay.
think is what it's
21 Jump
22
Street
was
was
the
the-
sequel. Jesus fucking Christ.
She was a sequel, and then 20. Yeah, whatever.
Well, you said the latest rendition. I didn't
Well,
know. Like
I
there
meant
was,
like
the one.
not the
the
Johnny
Jump
Depp version, not the Johnny Depp version, like the Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill version.
Oh, I didn't
But
even know
there's two
there
of
was
those.
another version.
Oh my fucking god!
Probably
To be
past it.
fair, technically, the 21 Jump Street from the TV show is technically part of that same universe.
The fucking movie.
Yeah,
The
but
movie.
there's
We're
two of
already
21 Jump
clear
Street.
on what we're talking about, okay?
Yeah,
Brett,
yeah.
continue.
There's two of them.
That was one movie. I'm just like, I have no expectations from this. I have no hopes for this. I'm not paying for the movie. I am having one of the best times of my fucking life in
It
that
was
movie.
good. I
I feel
liked
about
21
Ocean's
Jump
8.
Street.
Okay,
I thought it
shut
was
the fuck
good.
up, everyone. How many amongst you can actually say how moved you were by Lemon?
By what?
By Les Mis.
Uh-huh.
Book, movie, which movie,
Stand Russell
stage.
Crowe.
Movie. We're talking about films
Somebody's
here.
echoing.
Okay. I can't say about the
Wouldn't
movie. I haven't seen the movie.
Are we talking the musical or Gerard Depardieu one?
The film.
I'm guessing the
I-
latest
I-
one with Hugh Jackman.
I didn't see the latest one, but I saw the
With
old
hugest
one.
Ackman.
The
With
hugest
Gerard
Ackman.
Depardieu, I love the hell out of that one, but the musical,
Yeah.
Like a lot of people complain about oh fuck, what's his face? The warden character. Russell Crowe. A lot of people complain about his singing.
I couldn't
My
tell without
girlfriend
his
didn't
singing.
mind it at all. She hated the chick who plays
I
young
found
what's
that.
her face.
I found that.
Anne
to be-
Hathaway?
Russell Crowe was in a
I
band
found
for
Russell
years.
Crowe.
Like,
Honestly, I fucking respected the living fucking hell out of Russell Crowe when I saw him sing as bad as he did.
Yeah,
Well,
he
yeah.
got up there and did it. That takes some fucking balls. I'll give him that.
Not only that, he didn't
didn't
just
like
get
it,
up
but
there and get. I mean, he's not. I mean, he's not a fucking musical theater person.
Right.
And
but he was a
you-
singer
if you
for
guys
quite
want,
some
if you
time.
guys
Yeah, no,
are
he-
fucking really
He has a
fascinated-
rock background. That's the funny thing. He has a music background in rock and roll.
I have to go.
All
Alright, later, man.
Hard to sing.
That was fast.
It was abrupt.
Yeah.
Wow.
His
Incredible.
singing really
Time.
wasn't that bad, really. Like a lot of people
For
say it was
somebody
shit.
that was for
But it
compared
wasn't that
to everybody
bad.
else, it was garbage. I'm not gonna lie.
I actually,
But at the same time,
I,
it's like-
I had a lot of feels from watching it the first time. Not so much on the 10th time, but yeah.
Dragon, your
Okay,
mic is
Jesus
not
Christ,
on.
Dragon.
Like crazy.
Fucking Christ, Dragon, get a
Yeah.
better fucking mic, you fat sick
No,
fuck.
no,
Hey.
I'm actually,
Wow.
I'm actually
Just
eating.
had
so
to
I'm
go to
actually-
the
Well,
bench.
goddamn it, then you fucking push to talk.
Get out of here, you fat fuck!
Dude.
Who here isn't fat?
I'm not.
I'm not
No.
fat.
I am
Most of
so
us
fat.
aren't.
I am bigger than Boogie at his heaviest.
No
What?
way.
I heard two
No
not
way.
fats.
I actually don't believe that.
Yeah, that's what we thought. That's what we thought.
600. You have to be like 600 pounds. And I feel like if you're 600 pounds, I could hear it in your voice because you'd be like, you
Wait,
got
no. So,
Every
back to
time
where
he
this,
gets
back to where
paused,
this whole conversation started. Back to where this whole conversation started. I have
All right,
not seen
everybody
Ghost in the
post
Shell.
photos you're fat. We're doing it.
Don't
I've
bother
never seen-
watching Ghost in the Shell. At least, well,
Wait,
not the
what-
anime,
what
please.
was
Gee, I don't know. Maybe let him finish his fucking point.
No, I still
Jesus
watched
Christ,
Ghost in the
man.
Shell.
So I've watched a bit of the anime. I've never actually finished it. I haven't watched the movie. I'm probably gonna watch the movie. Do I care if it's bad? I'll have nothing to base it off of.
Here's the problem with what you're saying, Brad.
Fine.
Which one on every count?
Okay, the most recent Ghost in the Shell movie from America.
Okay, you're talking about a live action movie because
Live action.
the anime in question, I'm guessing you're talking about standalone complex.
Standalone, yeah.
Here's the problem. First Ghost in the Shell ever is the first Ghost in the Shell movie.
Okay.
And then there's like the sequel movie, and then there might be another movie that I don't know about offhand,
No,
which is
And it's two
Yeah.
movies.
So those two,
series and an OVA.
yeah, so those two are canon with each other. Standalone Complex, if I remember correctly, is its own thing, though I think the second series might be technically a sequel or a prequel. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No,
And then-
Laughing Man was an arc in the manga, I believe.
But the manga was an adaptation of fucking Standalone Complex, not the other way around.
No,
can't
no,
remember.
no. There was an original.
Really old
There was an
stuff?
original manga,
Completely
and that
different?
became
Not
a movie.
before the movie.
Yeah, it was.
confused.
Yeah, it was. Shiro made Shiro
Where have I
made the manga first.
Well, either way, there's a fuckload of Ghost in the
They're
Shells,
on-
and for the most part, they're not canon with each other.
Right.
So,
they're
like, it's not a series that you have to, like, all
So
watch
okay,
and everything.
and the question I would have is, the live action movie that we're talking about, the Scarlett Johansson one, which one is that supposed to be basing off of, or is it its own little thing?
That is its own thing. It's
Okay.
it's
Heavily from the first movie.
yes, it borrows very heavily from the first movie. The plot structure is generally the same, but there's a lot of stuff that they switched around and changed. I'd argue that it's kind of its own thing for the most part, but
Okay.
no, it's not canon with anything else.
So what
The
you're
only- the
saying
only
is
one I
going to this
thoroughly
movie,
enjoyed
not
was the
expecting it to be like going to the movie, expecting it to like be its own thing.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch the movie, watch it as a standalone.
Okay, cool.
A complex standalone?
Oh my
Treat it
God.
kind of like you would reading the book versus the Like reading a book versus reading or watching a movie. You know,
Yeah,
if you want to watch the movie and enjoy it, watch the movie first. You might enjoy it, and then go back and watch the anime movie, the first one that came out.
Like
if
the
you read-
standalone
I
complex
wouldn't
has a
even
lot
say
of
that.
one
Just
shots,
watch
like
it as if it's its
little
own thing.
narratives that you can go back and watch. There's they had a lot of episodes of the week, so you can watch them, and they don't really lead on too much.
Yeah, for fuck's
Just
sake, no,
don't
no,
watch
like
your
don't.
eyes.
Yeah, guys, don't do this whole shit of going on and being like, oh, like watch this one first and all that. Just separate it all out. They're all their fucking own thing. Because Brad, I know you can sit down and watch a thing as its own thing, even though you've like read the book or whatever before that, right?
I haven't read any of the.
Whatever what may be though. But what I'm saying is like you could go read the Lord of the Rings books and then watch the movies and not bitch about everything they got wrong and just enjoy the movies for being movies. Right?
It's like,
I know you're capable of this.
I have this capability of just turning my brain off and having low expectations.
I'm aware of that with you. So if you were to go watch the first Ghost in the Shell movie and have a lot of fun with that, you'd probably be able to watch the most recent live action thing and enjoy that too, and then turn around and think about it and be like, okay, here's what they did right, here's what they did wrong, and do that after the fact. But either way, I think you're probably going to enjoy fucking all of them.
Sweet.
And then if you go read the manga, you can find out she's heavy drug
cyborg.
addict and has a far greater taste for women than men.
How do cyborgs drug addicts?
But yes, I do stand
she's not
corrected.
She's on a
she's not a
ton of shit.
robot.
Well,
Yeah,
I feel like you might want to check your blood pressure because you get really hyped really fast.
No,
Maybe
it's just
just
like
how you're speaking.
it's how I'm speaking, and no, my blood pressure's fine. I've checked it many times and everything. It's not an issue for me. No, the problem, the reason I do that is in part, it's like, okay, I want to fucking get this shit out, and it's usually like I'm gonna say it and be a little bit more mild, and then people will jump in and say something that's completely fucking wrong. Like over and over again. Eventually, it's like, all right, shut the fuck up. I'm going to go on and explain this whole fucking thing. Now I'm done. Now you can all continue being wrong.
I don't mind. It's rather
as far as
for your health. That's all.
Oh, that doesn't
it's
sound
fine.
narcissistic at all.
Dude, I'm not gonna fucking deny that at all.
Why do you think I turned you down to a third of your volume?
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. Great. Okay, that's dealt with. I'm glad that you're.
But
that
actually,
problem's
like
dealt with.
you now, I turned you down. You're on the same level as Brett, and he's fucking loud.
Part of that's because I have a good fucking mic.
Yeah.
Maxwell also has a shitty mic, and he's really loud.
Yeah, I have a good mic. I have the gain turned up.
It doesn't matter what language you
Hold the fuck on.
Yeah.
Hold the fuck on. Good mic. Gain turned up high. Turned up really high. I sit next to it. I'm already naturally loud, and I have my output volume really high. Yes, there's a lot of reasons for it. Most of them are actually hardware. One of them is that I am personally a loud individual. But what I was gonna say there, previously, I stand corrected. Dragon. Yes, the manga came first. The manga came first, but most of the fucking movies and shit don't follow the manga. So it's not like, oh my god, this isn't canon to the manga. The best way to think about it is that Ghost in the Shell is like a setting, and there's a bunch of shit that may or may not be canon with each other in that setting. So if you find this whole aesthetic and shit that they do interesting, you're probably gonna love everything that they've done. But it's not like there's some big old network of canon that you have to figure out, right?
Yeah, the first two movies are canon with the manga. Then you have Standalone Complex. Both of those seasons are their own. Now they are. They're supposed to be a continuation of the first manga.
Okay. Yes.
Third, but the first manga.
Yes.
And then the second and third manga off sort of the same way that Fate Stay Night works, where it's just a different branch.
Don't even get me fucking started on Fate.
No, please don't. Please don't. We won't survive.
Remember that one time Fate originally wasn't a manga? It was just a porno. A really bad porno. I love how we had a less heated argument about gun control yesterday than we are now about anime.
Well, this is serious fucking business now, isn't
it? Anime actually matters. That's the difference.
Anime lives matter.
Yesterday, I couldn't remember.
Oh man, I shouldn't yell like that when I have a cold.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids in school who fuck them. I don't care about that, but anime matters.
Anime lives matter. I just find it hilarious.
The Ghost in the Shell, the new movie, which is the new theatrical edition. I don't know what that's about. I think it's part of the Arise section, and then Arise is its own third path, I guess is the way we could put that.
I am
And then
thoroughly
there were a bunch of
disappointed.
video
We've got
games, none
three
of which are canon with
canonical-
anything.
We've got 3 canonical things that are all they start from the same source, but then they all branch off.
Yeah, which is why I say generally just like treat it as if it's like a setting where a bunch of shit happens that may or may not be related. Because it's like when you
Just
watch
treat it
something,
tangentially.
well, it's like when you watch something, like it's like you could realize all of a sudden, oh shit, this is a sequel, right? And it's just like you've watched all this other shit that came before it, but you don't know what is a sequel of until later, like a character's alive, and it's like, oh, it's that thing. It's kind of like Legend of Zelda fucking continuity until they actually told us what it was. where it was like, I don't know which. It's like we know Majora's Mask comes from. It's like we know Majora's Mask is canon with fucking Ocarina of Time, but where the fuck does Wind Waker fit into this? You know.
Ghost in the Shell and Limited Blade Works. Is that where we're going with this?
Ghost in the Shell Heaven's Feel Route, more like.
Have you guys seen the new Thor Ragnarok movie?
Ghost in the Fate Apocrypha.
Yes, I quite liked it actually.
Straight up
It was good.
Blade Works, that bit.
Ghost in the Fate Apocrypha. Let's go.
It is
No. It's gonna be Ghost.
Ragnarok.
No, it's gonna be Ghost in the Shell Apocrypha Last Recode Exert Edition Revelator X2.
Alright, guys, I'm gonna hop off for the night. Have a good night, everyone.
Later, man.
That sign.
At least the first broadcast for this has been interesting.
It has been.
Yes.
Oh, are you broadcasting us now, Gator?
We've been on stream the entire time. It's the Kingdoms of Discordia after stream.
How many people are watching?
A grand total of 3. We had.
Wait, who's the other? I have it up too. But who's the other fake? Who's the fake
I
guy
might
here?
be one of those. Yeah.
We have a couple of like popping on and off. Yeah.
I'm officially number 4.
Yeah, this is the after show after. This is the late show.
I do like the booty of the week though. That's my favorite part.
Y2K is watching as well. I can see the list.
So, yeah,
Okay.
Hold on a second.
How long it takes Twitch to choke out on me?
Whoever
need to
Jack
know.
Wilson is as well.
That's me.
Oh.
I'm Jack Wilson.
Okay.
Nice.
So
All right, guys.
yeah.
Who's the other fate person here? I need to know.
Me?
You.
Fake person.
Fate. No, fate person. Like the person who's.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So Ghost in the Shell Grand Order.
Dear God, why?
No, just
I
no.
want
Ghost in the
Don't
Fate
you
got
want to
signed.
summon Bato as an archer servant? Because that makes sense.
Wow, that's exciting.
What is this? Are they actually making this, or is this just a dream?
No,
you had?
I'm just fucking with you.
Just a fever dream you had one night.
No, I'm just fucking with you because like this is the same series wherein Nikola Tesla is an archer for some ungodly fucking reason instead of caster.
Also has tits.
Also, someone.
Dude, Nikola Tesla was the best archer ever. All right.
It gets better because Thomas Edison is a caster, but he's also
Dude,
fucking.
he was a caster.
No, it gets better.
Spoilers for the new shit that just came out.
Doesn't no. Well, I mean maybe, but whatever. Fuck it. It's not even out
No
yet. Here.
spoilers.
But fucking no. Thomas Edison is
No
a
spoilers.
lion. No, he's a caster, but he's also a lion-headed fucking like American Superman. It's retarded looking.
Spoilers, Jesus.
Even though he was German, right?
Like, if
No, I mean he's in a red, white, and blue skin-tight outfit with a rainbow cape, and his head is that of a lion. I'm
really
not
want to
kidding.
get down to weirdness.
Which is
let's
strange.
look
I
at the
love
source
diversity.
material And look at the original
Diversity.
Archer. Archer, by all respects, should not be Archer class.
What?
But
from Prototype?
unfortunately,
He shoots swords with a bow.
from Stay Night
That's
should not be an
awesome.
Archer class.
Well, no, if
But
you
the
throw
mage
swords,
class was
it's an
taken when
archer.
he got summoned.
I'd say that's pretty magical that he's shooting fucking.
Caster was
no.
taken.
No, that's not it. That character qualifies for 3 separate classes.
Yeah,
could have been
qualified
summoned as a
for
saber.
Archer, saber, and
Tesla
caster.
should be a lightning wizard.
Tesla should be a lightning wizard, but instead he's still a lightning wizard who shoots lightning out of his hands and throws lightning. But nope, he's an archer.
So he's
Isn't that badass?
Palpatine.
Yes.
Yep.
Even has like long, luxurious hair. Like, oh wait, no, not Palpatine. Never mind.
No, he's
Remember that time Gilgamesh played Dead or Alive?
Hey Hey,
You
which
know, I
was
don't
it,
even have a
Gilgamesh?
response to that. Well done.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Waffle?
Of course I know what you're talking about.
We don't talk
Wait,
about
was
that.
it Gilgamesh or was it Alexander the Great?
It was Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, Alexander was playing the freaking RTSs, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Waffle, check out voice text 1.
Oh god, why am I?
Gross
Oh yeah, I'm voice
gamer.
text 1.
Who the fuck is that? What am I watching?
I don't know what the fuck that is. It looks pretty fucking cool, though.
It's really pretty.
Nerevar.
I like it. I like you.
I don't know what this is.
Morrowind.
It's the Lord Nerevar from Morrowind. You know, that guy, the guy at the end of the thing thinks who you are, except you're not, except maybe you are.
Nobody really knows for sure. It's an urban legend.
I don't remember
See,
that
this
from
is-
Morrowind.
This is what I fucking love about
you're
Elder Scrolls, just like canon in general, is that they keep doing this shit where everything's vague. Like, remember that time when there were like 8 different, completely conflicting and contradictory endings for Daggerfall? And when it came time for the developers to decide which one of these is canon, they said, "Fuck it, all of them."
Dragon Break.
Dragon Break.
Yeah, the
Makes you wonder what they'll do for the next Elder Scrolls. You know, will they say
I want them to do it
the
elsewhere.
Stormcloaks won their neutrality, or the Empire won and took them back into their fold?
As much as I don't like Wood Elves, I'd like to see Valenwood.
No, I want them to do elsewhere because I want you to be like the chosen Khajiit who among all the Khajiit is the best at stealing shit, so you have to like go and unite all the Khajiit by stealing all their shit and then having them respect you.
If you want your
and
shit
therefore-
back, follow
no,
me.
and then therefore
So
give you all of their skooma, and then you take all the skooma, ascend, and then like punch Dagon or some shit. That sounds like an amazing fucking game to
So
me.
It might just be my inner weeb, but
Scrolls game.
I want an Elder
Off of
Scrolls game to
your-
be entirely encapsulated by Khajiit as wares if you have coin.
I want Akavir. I want to get some Akavir.
I just feel like Skyrim is going to be the home to the Khajiit Lives Matter in a couple decades. The way they're treating Skyrim.
That was a pretty good Jizargo. I heard that. Fuck is that?
Jizard goes trying new things, tight things. These pants will make his hot on stand out.
God fucking Waffle.
God damn it. God fucking damn it.
I think Khajiit were the most common slaves in Morrowind. Unless I'm
I don't
mistaken,
think
or was that
they're slaves. They're just
or
destitute.
Argonians?
In Morrowind, yes. Actually, no, that's right. In Morrowind, they were. Oh. Yeah.
Really?
No, because remember, like, as much as I
Argonian
like
and
the
Khajiit
Dunmer, they were
slaves
fucking
everywhere.
assholes.
Yeah.
What's Orclands called? Their country, their little country.
Orsinium?
That's always been
Hammerfell.
No, that's the Red Guard's
That's
back.
the Red Guard.
Hey, orcs take wherever they can take, okay?
Orcs aren't black people. God.
No, they are the Middle East of this particular world. They're constantly being invaded.
No, they're the Jews. They're constantly traveling
Yeah.
around.
No.
Their former leader got eaten by Boethia, crapped out, and transformed all of them.
Yeah, it's on the borderlands between Skyrim and they're called
Cyrodiil?
High Rock. No, High Rock.
High Rock is in Hammerfell. Last I checked.
No, wrong. Hammerfell is south of High Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it
they're
is.
like together and they're like the same. Oh, High Rock's where the Bretons are from. My bad.
Yeah, High Rock's where Bretons are from. I remember that.
Fuck the
Orsinium-
Bretons.
Fuck Bretons. I never
Hey,
played.
Bretons.
God.
Bretons were the actual Dragonborn. They were supposed to, like, canonically follow all the hints and stuff they gave. A Breton was supposed to be the Dragonborn.
Yeah, and also in Morrowind, Dark Elf was supposed to be the Hortator and all that jazz.
You mean the Nerevar or Nerevarine?
Because he's literally a reincarnation of a dark elf hero.
Chimmer, technically, but
Wrong. He wasn't a dark elf. Nerevar was a chimer. Chimers are
Chimmer.
dark elves, which means I say that right.
You said Chimer.
The Chimer.
The other person.
Yeah,
You know-
it's like, do you pronounce it Dwemer,
Waffle.
Dwemer, what?
It's
Dwemer.
Dwemer.
Yeah. I always thought it was Dwemer.
Seriously.
It's almost like asking, do you pronounce it Snoo Elves or Snow Elves?
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Fuck up, Snack.
Fuck you, bitch!
Chosen one.
God damn it. God fucking damn it, all of you.
Yeah.
But Ron, what if I can't get it up? Oh,
Oh,
my God.
oh, yeah. What was that animation? Like, like, oh my God.
Let me
The Harry-
saw.
Let me saw.
This is why you don't.
Let me
Ticking noise.
Can we please
My
stop
God,
saying
the source
that,
of the ticking.
please, for the love
It's
of
a
God.
light bulb. Yay!
All I know, you don't piss off Azura or she'll fuck you over.
Wait, who do we not piss off?
Azura.
Me.
I'll piss off Azura any fucking day of the week.
Fuck you! I'm not getting that fucking star. Fuck off.
I want that goddamn black star.
No, you piss her off, she'll take away your white privilege.
Yeah, she'll make you black.
That's a good one.
She
But I mean, in this case,
I
black
know I miss
privilege
those
is.
white privilege checks I get every month.
But in all honesty, Dragon, in this case, the black privilege highly outclasses the white privilege. So, can you really call it privilege?
Well, yeah, because three of their race
Are they
gods.
oppression points?
Ah, Keki got it.
Yeah.
The fucking image at least. Love your soul.
Let me saw.
Oh, voice text
That's
one
great.
actually reappeared. That's nice.
Let's ask Oni, see what he says.
I kind of want a whole thing about how Argonians need their reparations after being oppressed by the Denmer.
I kind
I
of want a
think
thing where the
they-
Argonians just sit and talk to trees all day.
No,
You know, actually, I
there's-
wouldn't mind a black
there's
marsh.
war. Like the Argonians invaded Morrowind afterwards.
Hey, check out VT1. If it'll load.
I like how in fucking.
What is this magic?
Whoever says sorry.
Khajiit will never retire. Khajiit will always beg.
No, Brad, hold on. Whoever said skooma was bad for Khajiit was clearly not Khajiit on skooma.
I love Khajiit. They're my favorite.
Fucking Christ.
I fucking love doing Khajiit voice. It's so much fun. See, what I want to see in fucking if they ever do an Elsewhere games, because you know about how there's like all kinds of different like shapes of Khajiit. You only ever see like one or two.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
and
they
it's
range
also-
from gigantic fucking tiger things, the mostly humanoid ones that we see, the ones that look almost exactly like wood elves, and then the ones that look like house cats. When they look like house cats, they're fucking smart and can talk and still sound like Khajiit.
You know,
So just imagine like sitting there being like, "Oh, that's a cute kitty," and the kitty going,
"Step away, smooth skin."
I want there
much more interested if they put it in the game.
I
Like,
want there to be the
a
house cat
whole lot
ones
more
because I want there to be the house cat ones that look like the fucking palicos from Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Because I just started playing Monster Hunter World. I'm just like, oh, I can make it. Oh my god, this is amazing! I can have a cute kitty. Fuck yes.
I want that game
it's
on
like
fucking
you started playing
PC.
Monster Hunter and then realized, oh my god, this game is amazing. How did I not know about this series?
Because
What the fuck did I just
wasn't Monster Hunter predominantly handheld, like mobile shit?
Yeah,
I think a lot of them just never really got naturalized here.
There was two that were initially on what was it, on PlayStation 2, and then they started moving to DS. And there was a couple on Wii, I think. There might have been some on the Wii, might have been, or the Wii U, but everything else, like all the big ones, have all been on DS. I don't really play it though, so fuck if I know.
What gets even better about the whole bullshit is that I don't know, it's fun. Oh wait, I remembered. So speaking of like games that didn't get fucking naturalized here, we need a goddamn like English release of Metal Wolf Chaos. Because for those of you who don't know, Metal Wolf Chaos is a game made by From Software before they made Dark Souls, and everyone was like, and they decided that they didn't want to release it in the US because they think we wouldn't like it, right? Here's the problem. The game is, you're the president of the United States, your vice president betrays you and fucking fractures the entire country by grabbing all of your subordinates from the army, like back when you were in the army, and like getting them to turn against you, and tries to assassinate you. You obviously make the correct fucking response here and get into a goddamn mech and go on a roaring rampage of revenge across the entire country to murder your goddamn traitorous bastard of vice president and reunify the United goddamn States.
I mean,
Yep.
isn't that,
And they
isn't that
thought
exactly what
that
happened
we
in the
wouldn't
Civil War?
like this game.
That sounds like a historically accurate representation of what happened in the Civil War. If I remember history class correctly.
Like, I don't
That's
understand
exactly
how
what
you
happened.
can look at I don't understand how you can look at that.
Of the Civil War.
Right, exactly. Well, but it's like
Sweet dude.
with mechs.
Lincoln bought the Lincoln mech.
Guys, come
By the way,
on.
you
If
have
it's a
to-
Lincoln
by-
bot, it's going to be Aberdolf Linkler. We all know this.
By the way,
Yeah,
guys.
Aberdolf Winkler, yeah.
By the way, check
Jesus.
out voice chat one. Voice chat one.
Yeah, but the
Wheels
wheels,
trees,
trees, and
yeah.
shit. I like that. So as far as the fucking like Metal of Chaos shit goes, like this company, how could they have fucking looked at this and been like, this won't sell in America, while knowing that the Metal Gear franchise was a thing? You know,
Because they don't pay
wherein
attention to shit.
A fucking offshoot clone of a guy who was a badass soldier becomes the president and then gets fucking ousted because of a conspiracy. Also had something to do with child soldiers in South America and some shit. And then someone else, like another clone of the same guy, gets his hand cut off and then gets that hand attached to another guy who apparently really likes revolvers and is named after a cat. And then somehow you end up with Liquidus fucking Ocelot. Like, what? And they saw this as like, hey, this series is well loved in fucking America, but no, our thing where the president gets in a mech and has to go murder everybody, including his vice president, no, that won't do in America.
It's like
We can't
Gundam
make
comes
that.
to America. Gundam came to America.
You wonderful bastards.
Feldy!
The question is answered by saying don't question the intelligence of companies or corporations because there is none.
Oh, you don't say.
Pretty much.
It just disappoints me because I want to play that fucking game.
I mean, it actually, you'd have to pay like $150, $175 for it because it's a huge collector value.
What, Metal Wolf?
Emulators, my dude.
Yeah.
But no, like apparently, like as of 2012, like the average value on eBay for this shit was like $150 to $170.
Khajiit's still nothing.
You
Khajiit
should look
is
at the
innocent of
eBay
this
value
crime.
of Battle for Middle Earth 2 RTS.
Look at
pretty
the fucking eBay value of a goddamn what's it called? Earthbound in the box.
Oh god, yeah, that's insane.
It's only like $700
Getting
minimum.
it from is just so hard.
Yeah, but this is like collector edition with like the scratch and sniff and good shit when you first got it, because that's something we needed for immersion in games. Scratch and sniff.
Oh yeah,
cards.
Earthbound and SNES complete in box big box cartridges in mint condition, $450.
Yep.
It's some Ready Player One shit where they have the smell tower.
Yep.
Oh dear God.
They program the smells into the game.
Remember that time when they had smell-o-vision in a fucking Spy Kids movie, and then it was never done ever again because it was a terrible idea?
Well, they've done something similar. It's not the smell bit, but they have the 4DX movies where they like shake your chair and shit.
Well, like that's actually kind of neat, but the whole thing, it's like, yeah, you have a scratch and sniff card that's gonna flash up a cue at you on screen for when you scratch and sniff, so you can smell what the characters are going to. Why would anyone think this is a good thing to market for a movie?
Because it was those times.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
No. Waffle, you and I both know the answer to this, and the answer is cocaine.
Yeah.
Take cocaine.
Every
Take
day,
cocaine
you
all
be
the
no
time.
sleeping this stuff.
Non-stop. But you're not. Why?
Just remember, according to Sophane, if you stop doing blow, your night's gonna go bad.
If you're on GHB, which there's a possibility that I might end up with that at some point.
Sophane, like,
I hate you so
the
much.
great cure for a fucking brown recluse bite. So maybe don't listen to Sophane.
Wait, what did you say was cure for brown recluse bite?
Cocaine.
He had some cocaine that he sprinkled in his brown recluse bite.
Recluse.
Or if this was on Devil's Business or on PTW.
That's
apparently
not actually as bad as an idea as you may think.
Well, he felt okay about it until he had a chunk of flesh the size of, to quote, a pair of Vegas dice fall out of his thigh.
Well, here's the thing about the cocaine. Cocaine, it does work as a topical anesthetic. So it's not a bad idea to do that to make it stop fucking hurting. It's just not going to cure it.
Yeah.
They used to prescribe cocaine. Doctors used to.
Still do.
Yeah.
No, cocaine is still used in hospitals to it's
little differently.
When you have to shove a tube down someone's nose, yeah. But people will do it for like dilating airway and stuff like that.
It's a little
used
more
differently,
regulated
but,
than it used to be. I'm saying it used to be just like, oh, here, take some of this cocaine home with you. Take
Dilate my airway.
Yeah, but no,
that's
it
a
is.
lot of drugs.
It still has legit hospital uses though.
Same thing with heroin.
He,
Yeah. Well, heroin does heroin
got
does
a
not have
hold of the
legit hospital
cocaine
uses.
to,
Says you.
Well,
he
morphine.
didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
And he was treating it with cocaine rather than getting it seen.
Yeah.
Pretty bad necrosis going on.
Did you hear about the guy who won the lottery, and so he decided to spend some of his money to go get checked out by a doctor, and they found he had cancer, and he died 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
That's just
Holy
kinda tragic.
fuck.
Right?
Dum dum dum.
But
I
yeah,
know you
it's.
At least
So-
they had
I
money to
mean,
get
at
him
least
to
he
go out of
fucking he
style.
got to have Uber Eats for like 2 weeks.
Welcome
Yeah.
to
Small
America.
miracles, right? Hooray for small miracles,
But yeah, what's it called? The fucking medical uses for heroin. Like, we use opiates all the fucking time in modern medicine. It's just heroin we don't, because it's more addictive than morphine and or other opiates.
Yeah, I mean, aren't they chemically almost? Aren't they like pretty much the same? But like
No.
one's like a more impure form of another.
Adderall,
something.
which is used to treat ADHD, is an amphetamine.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh
Adderall,
god, you
yeah,
guys are
that's-
hurting me so much. No. Adderall is a cocktail of 5 or 6 amphetamines. It's a bunch of different ones. Opiates
Still
are
classified as amphetamines. Thank you.
It is several amphetamines, but it is not one amphetamine. It's not like
I didn't say one.
MDMA.
I didn't
No,
say
you said
one.
it's an amphetamine. That is one amphetamine. Fuck off.
Yourself. Shit off.
No, don't talk about this shit if you don't know what you're talking about. MDMA is an amphetamine. But Adderall's a bunch of shit, including not just amphetamine.
Hairs,
It's a lot of
deal
shit.
with it.
You're talking about specific fucking chemicals. That's what we fucking do.
Is it dextromethamphetamine?
No.
No, or is that Ritalin?
No, Ritalin's not an amphetamine. Ritalin's methylphenidate. It's not an amphetamine.
Okay, that's methylphenidate, and because I'm googling Adderall, because I used to take Adderall. I take Vyvanse like daily.
Yeah, I used to take it too.
And it severely
fucked me up.
It's that's one of those weird things where it's very overprescribed, but I am the correct usage case for that. I'm actually like the golden patient. Where it actually works. It actually works for me. But I don't take fucking Adderall. I used to take Adderall, but Vyvanse, it's not
Hold
it's not
on,
that.
everyone.
It's a different chemical thing.
Hold on, everyone. Pavros needs to speak.
Apparently.
What's up, Pop?
I was just making a joke that isn't heroin's purity based on how you make it. That was all I was wanting to say. You guys keep going.
Alright.
Like the quietest I've ever heard Pav.
Yeah.
By the way,
I love you, Pav.
Glad someone called it because I honestly couldn't hear him. So.
By the way, I hate you, Waffle. I started looking at Khajiit memes.
You started looking at what Khajiit memes? Yeah, sucks to be you.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
the Khajiit memes.
as far as opioids go, opioids don't necessarily have to be chemically similar, or they're all chemically similar, but they can vary. They activate your fucking opioid receptors, so they can be a little funky and a little weird because they sort of mimic endorphins. But there's a lot of different chemicals there. So heroin,
Adderall.
Morphine.
There is levoamphetamine and then dextroamphetamine.
2 salts of each.
Yeah,
So it's
25%,
4 separate
75%.
chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4 separate
I had to balance out all the cat with quality dog posts.
Well, pardon me for not doing the obscene amount of research to figure that out. Googling it, having
Hashtag Wikipedia.
Nothing wrong.
I just
with
don't
being
care
told
enough to
something and
split
being
that many fucking
corrected.
hairs. So.
Well, there's nothing wrong with someone explaining something when you're wrong.
Yeah, but getting pissy about it's a different story. Okay?
No, that's not
Who's pissy about it? I think we're just trying to correct. Unlike the Warski streams, we actually look up information in this Discord server.
I appreciate the information. I'm
At
not,
least
I'm not
most of
upset
the
that I'm
time.
wrong. It's the
Yeah.
it really got to me. So pardon me.
Look, and I'm sorry for that. I don't mean to be
fucking
abrasive
around,
about
dude.
it.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Like I don't mean to be abrasive about it. I know that there's better ways I could phrase this shit. I'm sorry for that. All right. But if we're gonna be talking about like different chemicals, because the reason why you might use morphine and not heroin does boil down to slight differences in its chemical structure. That's if you want to talk OChem shit, we do have to be specific. Good example.
Adderall is used to treat narcolepsy, actually.
I'm
interestingly
aware.
enough.
I don't use it.
Yeah.
I use Ritalin instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you guys
I'm
ever, you guys
That's
ever
a
come
real
down from
effect. The
Adderall?
whole
Like,
they
stop
do
taking
fuck with sleep really hard. They
I'm
really
aware,
do fuck with
dude.
sleep.
I have narcolepsy. I know.
Oh no, I've also I am like I said, I'm prescribed this stuff. I'm aware like
Yeah.
that. I know
He's
like from
woke.
like studying and shit. Like sometimes you'll study hard and you'll take some of this stuff because you need to study and you're like, okay, I got my studying done. It's time to go to sleep so we can get a nice
Yeah, you know what
sleep.
else
And then you
fucks
try to
with?
you lay down and you're like your body's like, haha, lol, you're not going to sleep, buddy. And you're
Yeah,
like,
there's
"Fuck."
a reason I time my medication very fucking carefully.
You have to. Yeah, you really
Yeah.
do. You really have
Now,
to.
All I can
and-
think is, I am Officer Patio Furniture. I'm here to talk to you about narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is.
Yeah, no, it's you'd be surprised how often that's happened to me. Like when driving a car, that's how I found out. Yeah, I ran into the woods at 70 miles an hour. That was fun.
No. That sounds
but
bad.
It almost was. I was completely uninjured. The car actually still ran afterwards. We just had to
That's
replace
amazing.
Yeah, we just had to replace both bumpers, rear view mirrors, and the headlights. That's it, and it ran fine.
That's amazing.
I
Actually,
had a friend I think had.
Now here's the question.
That's incredible.
No, hold on. Here's the question. What kind of car was I driving? And I'll have you know, I took out at least 3 trees, like head on, that
An
were
Aztec.
8 inches in diameter at least. Not an Aztec.
A Yukon.
I was driving a goddamn Subaru Outback.
Nice.
I knew it. I was gonna say yeah, it's like an SUV.
Yeah, no, Subaru Outbacks. The new ones are SUVs. The old ones are almost more like compacts. But those things are so fucking unkillable. I love it.
Nice.
Like you can break them, but you can fix them just as easily.
Beautiful.
I've gotten a car wreck where someone like rear-ended me. Fucking horrible experience. But my car was fine.
They at least
Their
leave
car
lube.
looked like they hit a train. No, they didn't.
What do you drive?
Yeah, but no. I guess I was wearing a chastity belt at the time because they looked like they hit a fucking train.
Wait, hold on. What does a chassis belt have to do with any of this? Did it just make you so fucking hard that car just couldn't even touch you?
No, somebody, I don't know who it was. Said
Everybody knows that virgins are more. Everybody knows that virgins are more like resistant to car accidents. Okay, like don't they teach you that in the DMV?
They use them in crash testing for Honda.
No, I don't know who it was. Somebody responded with, "Did they use lube?" And my response to that, no, I must have been wearing a chastity belt or something because they didn't even get in.
Got it. Okay, that's pretty good. But yeah.
I didn't even have to, like, I barely had to set that shit up. You guys just did the rest of the work for me. Hallelujah.
I thought the joke was funny.
To walk that back like 2 seconds though. To walk that back a quick couple things. Part of the reason why like this chemical shit gets fucking weird is because like those minor differences do weird shit. Like what's it called?
They're important, yeah.
No, I'm trying to remember the specific thalidomide. So you know how thalidomide like killed a bunch of fucking babies, and everyone was like, "How did we not realize this wasn't safe?" Turns out Yeah. So who's echoing the stream? Is it you, Dragon? I bet it's you, Dragon.
No, it's Y2K.
Wow.
It wasn't Dragon for once.
Wow.
We've been on stream this whole time.
Yeah, we have been.
But someone was echoing it.
Wait,
Someone was
what?
echoing it.
Dragon's offended.
I'm sorry, Dragon.
Wait, what?
No, Pavros, you're on. Sorry, we've been streaming this whole time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pavros, it's fine. You haven't
It,
said any.
there is literally 3 people watching, so no worries.
Don't worry, Pop. Statute of limitations isn't up yet. Just shh. Don't tell anyone about bodies.
Hey,
so,
Buddha.
Wait, am I muted?
No?
Dragon? No.
No, just shut up. So the thalidomide, like, one of the if it's twisted one way, it's completely safe and it works for morning sickness. If it's twisted the other way, it's a really like strong mutagen. And it turns out it can unfuck itself from one into the other while in the pill. So we didn't know that thalidomide wasn't safe until bad shit started happening, and we pulled out the pills, and we're like, "What the fuck's going on? Oh shit! A bunch of these switched chirality without us fucking noticing. Oh
They had a
fuck!"
Jurassic Park moment. They decided to go male.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing is it's
And
chemically
life
still
finds
the
a
same
way.
chemical for the most part.
Chemical,
Like structure.
water, frogs, gay. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay.
It's really amazing the difference between some of this stuff. Like I know from firsthand experience, like Ritalin, Adderall, Concerta, Vyvanse, they're very similar, but they actually have very real differences. Like if you take like Concerta or Vyvanse, or sorry, Concerta or Ritalin or Adderall, and then you take Vyvanse, it's like night and day how different it affects you. It's incredible.
So Concerta is Ritalin extended release.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And yes, that exactly. And then Adderall's different, but then like Vyvanse, it's like all the issues I ever had with Concerta and that stuff were immediately alleviated when I started taking Vyvanse. I wish it was invented years earlier. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Well, my
Incredible.
issue with Adderall was coming down from it because I didn't know that I had to take it on the weekends as well. So every weekend I'd be coming down from a week of Adderall, and I was downright suicidal in middle school. It was not healthy.
Yeah, that's why we give you 30 pills a month, man. Because
that's pretty much. You have 30 pills a month, motherfucker.
Yeah,
you have
to
I've got
take. It's
90
really
a month.
Oh god,
I'm taking that shit 3 times a day, but it's
oh wow, because you're not taking
If you
XR.
ever feel like taking Adderall recreationally, coming down is a bitch.
I don't take I don't take
I know
Adderall for
people who
exactly
do,
that reason.
so I just wanted
I know, but like that coming down, that's exactly why I don't use Adderall. I use Ritalin instead, because coming down from it's a lot less of a bitch for me. And the thing is, if I don't have to drive or like do shit where I need to be functioning, I'm not gonna take it. So like if I have a day where it's like this is my off day where I can just stay home, watch like fucking queue up Netflix or YouTube or some shit. I've got plenty of food. I don't have shit to do. Fuck it, I'm not taking that shit.
Yeah,
I don't need the heart rate
I actually
increase.
kind of do the same thing. Like even though you're supposed to take like this shit daily, but the thing is like I noticed that even though apparently according to the psychiatrists you don't actually build a tolerance, but I think that's bullshit. I think you totally build a
you
tolerance.
do.
I think they're fucking
On all
lying.
those kind of pills.
You do, but at least even if the effect's working, what you do, you build a tolerance to the noticeable effect, like the feeling. And so I like taking that one day off a week or something. I like taking that day off because then it hits you harder, and like it kind of like
So
I've
the
noticed
tolerance
there's
thing?
like two different there's like a separate you, where like there's you on it and then there's you off of it a little bit.
That's why I stopped taking Adderall.
It's not as much now on Vyvanse. It's much more middle of the road, but on Concerta for me, it was real. It was very real, and I was on that for years.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't have to deal with that nearly as much because I just function very well with Ritalin. It's a very good drug for me, but with the tolerance building up, it's a little bit different from like a tolerance building up with pain pills, for example. Because what will happen with pain pills is like they built that tolerance keeps building up over and over and over again until it gets to the point where like you can't afford, nor can a physician prescribe the amount of stuff you need for it to actually get rid of the pain. And then you go to heroin because heroin is really, really cheap. Kids don't do heroin. I don't condone it, but
and it's really strong. Yeah,
it's strong and it's cheap, and that's
thank God. I'm happy I don't have that problem. Fuck.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of those problems. Really
but
bad.
With a lot of the stimulants, you're looking at kind of a different thing going on. Where let me put it this way: it's from what I understand. Feel free to call me out on this if I'm wrong. It's kind of similar to what will happen with something like Prozac, where you will build up a tolerance to it because your brain's going to adjust to the artificial regulation that's going on. So if you're basically telling your brain, you've got more serotonin and more norepinephrine in your brain, then your brain's going to be like, well, fuck, we've got so much of this around, we don't need to produce as much of it as quickly. So it's going to slow down by itself, but it's not going to stop altogether. So it's going to get to a point where, since your brain's trying to kind of come back to its equilibrium, once it reaches that, you're going to have to up the dose a little bit. But there's a point where it's like, this is the dose that is the maximum that you should ever have to take. And if you have to take more than this, there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Exactly.
Whenever you chemically alter like shit, doesn't your brain and your body...
your brain fixes that. That's why like I talk to this with psychiatrists like a lot, and I'm perpetually afraid. It doesn't matter what they say, where I'm like, look, I know that this is going to be basically dependency building.
Yep.
And it's because it's true. It's just it's
be
how
really
it is.
careful about that word. No, be really careful with that word. I got
dependency, like for somebody with ADHD.
No, I know. again, I'm in a similar boat with that, but just careful with that word. I got chewed out by a psychiatrist for this, specifically an addiction specialist for this, because dependency as a technical term implies like physical dependency, meaning you stop and you get withdrawal and bad shit happens.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
you know?
but I just mean dependency as in like this is going to be a thing that you're going to need to take lifelong.
Yeah, you
And
are building
that
up.
always
Yeah.
that I hate. I don't like that sucks because that makes you're reliant, especially in the U.S. where we have really bad deals with like drug companies and stuff. It's very frightening to think of like, oh, okay, let's say one day you just can't get it. You're like, dude, I'm fucked.
Yeah,
I'm fucked. Like I'm actually fucked, and you're like, oh shit.
Probably more so for me than you on that front, actually.
Oh yeah,
ADHD is one
I
thing,
agree.
but-
You're probably more fucked than me, but
Yeah.
because narcolepsy is like that's intense. But
it's a bitch and a
still,
half.
I mean, it's like it's scary to think about. Like it's scary to have to rely on something like that.
Yeah, well, the thing with something
I'll be
like ADHD
honest,
is that and I'm not going to say that everyone's in this boat because there are some people who just medication is pretty much the only way they can treat. But
There are degrees
there
of
are
ADHD.
I know, I'm aware. There are a lot of ways to manage ADHD beyond just the medication, which ideally you should be doing both. Like you should
Vigorous
be
exercise
doing.
helps out.
Yeah, for some people, it depends. But there's a lot of shit that you like. There's a lot of shit that you can do. Lifestyle changes, diet changes, believe it or not. Just shit like keeping a calendar, leaving notes for yourself, setting fuckloads of alarms. Like there's a lot of shit that you could potentially do to alleviate it, right? But there is that kind of issue. In my case, it's a legal thing. If I'm not medicated, I can't legally drive.
Yeah.
That's
Your case is a whole different level than mine.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, okay, so let's say theoretically, like, let's say the Affordable Care Act is like reversed, and you can't get the prescription for because I know Ritalin's a controlled substance. Let's say you can't get it without it being $600 a month.
Ritalin will never be that high, even without insurance. It's never gone over $75 a month for me. However, the other drug that I wish I could be taking but can't right now because can't right now because I haven't had it prescribed for a while. That one is $600 a month if I don't have insurance.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see my medications for blood pressure when I got out of the
Oh,
hospital.
the blood
didn't
pressure
have
ones are
insurance.
awful.
Oh dear God!
Yeah.
We spent $200 the first day until I got on Medicare and Medicaid. I couldn't afford my drugs. That's half the reason I'm broke.
Yeah, here's the sad thing about the other thing, like that I would like to be able to take, which is it's called modafinil. It's interesting. Yeah. So the thing with modafinil,
it's a nootropic.
Well, yeah. So is Ritalin. So is meth.
Yeah, but I mean, like it literally like sold as a nootropic.
That's not what it's prescribed
it's not
for.
a controlled substance, though.
Modafinil is. It's Schedule 2.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I thought I bought it. I remember we were going out about this. I bought like piracetam,
Where?
and I bought that stuff, and I think modafinil they were selling it with it.
Was it Adrofinil?
I don't remember. I know I bought
controlled.
piracetam, and it was recommending me because I remember you sent me a link actually to
then it wasn't modafinil. It was definitely not modafinil because those guys are based in the same state I live in, and it's just as fucking illegal. If you were you might have gotten Adrofinil. What Adrofinil does?
I only bought piracetam, but yeah.
Okay, Adrofinil will and like if they had the thing talking about modafinil, there are places where modafinil is not controlled, or at least not nearly as heavily, namely Canada and the EU. But there's another drug called Adrofinil. This one is completely like fine. It's white market. You can just get it. Adrofinil turns into modafinil in your liver. So you can take Adrofinil, and instead of this, that's actually what I do. Is I'll take Adrofinil instead of it kicking in half an hour, it kicks in like an hour and a half, and it sticks around for 15 hours instead of 8. But it does what I need it to do. Here's what modafinil does for you. Okay. Not going to describe what it does chemically because that's the mechanism of action isn't completely understood. But like what you will feel if you take it is you just don't get sleepy. That's it. You're awake. You don't get tired. That's it. It's not a stimulant. Your heart rate doesn't not a normal stimulant. Your heart rate doesn't go up. Your blood pressure doesn't go up. At least not by much. If they do, you don't feel hyped up and amped up. You don't get twitchy. Nothing like that. You're just awake. You feel like you had a good night's rest, and you just feel like that all day. That's it. It is prescribed to treat 2 things: 2, maybe 3. The 2 things are narcolepsy and shift work disorder, which is you've been working the night shift for 3 years and they switched you to a day shift and you can't get your sleep schedule to work properly. Those are the only 2 things it's prescribed for. It has no good reason to be that expensive. It has no good reason to be controlled, namely that because it does not form a dependency, it is very difficult to abuse, and it has almost no side effects. Why the fuck is this a Schedule 2 substance that's $600 a month without insurance?
It's because they want to.
Because it's a because it's considered a stimulant by legislators.
For truck drivers and stuff like that to prevent
Right.
abuse of those lines. The cost.
We don't have to worry about truck drivers much longer.
No, well, seriously, why is that a controlled substance? Look at what isn't. All right, as far as promoting weight loss. First of all, caffeine has more side effects than this shit does.
Oh yeah.
Don't touch my caffeine.
We've talked about 2 things: anime and drugs.
Yeah, that's
Good stream. Good stream.
Good.
Yeah.
It's been.
And
It's educational. It's definitely educational.
But you can use caffeine. Yeah, you can use caffeine to do the same exact shit. You can buy caffeine pills in a goddamn store easily.
Yeah. Or if you want to go that crazy, you brew coffee. You really shit ton of coffee and just drink that.
Yeah, caffeine again, same deal. It's like the point is, if you're talking about abuse, fucking everybody abuses caffeine for the most part. So if that already happens, and apparently we've deemed it to not be a problem, why is this illegal? Oh my god, people are gonna take it and they're gonna not go to sleep. Yeah, that doesn't really work that way because you can't stay up more than a few days with that shit because your body will knock you the hell out. It's not like Ritalin where it won't let you sleep because you can't do it. You just don't get sleepy. But if you're bodily exhausted, have been on it, it'll knock you the fuck out. You will fall asleep because your body needs to sleep even if your brain doesn't.
Yeah, I was just call it Adderall. Even though it's a stimulant, you will get sleep. If you're tired enough, you will fall asleep.
The phrasing I like with Adderall is that the feeling when you get need to sleep or you get tired rather on Adderall is that you feel like you feel like butter spread too thinly on toast.
Yeah, that was me today.
Yep.
Where it's like there's just not enough of you to go around. You're just too spread thin. You're at your wit's end. You're stretched to the point of breaking.
I will admit, Adderall withdrawal when it comes to dreams is one of the most trippiest. It's like an acid trip. Your dreams are fucking nuts. Because all that stimulation.
So you want to know why that is?
Why?
When you use a fuckload of Adderall, it affects how quickly you go into REM sleep. So you go into REM sleep faster than you normally should. Reason I know this is because when I got a sleep study to figure out what the hell's going wrong with me, the morning after, the doctors came, they're like, okay, so we need to ask you a really important question. You said that you used Ritalin. How often? I was like, not that often, every once in a while for ADD.
6 times a day.
And then they're like, okay, but what was the most recent? I hadn't used it a month because when I was using Ritalin then, it was occasionally when I needed to focus for something. And they're like, okay, so good, that's important to know. You have narcolepsy. I was like, how the fuck and how are these related? Turns out, diagnostic feature when you're trying to diagnose someone with narcolepsy is not about how often they fall asleep, because they might just have sleep apnea or some other reason that they're interrupting sleep when they're tired all the time. Turns out it's how quickly they go into REM sleep. Because the core problem in narcolepsy is it's an inability for your brain to regulate REM sleep. So, you go into REM sleep somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes after having fallen asleep. Great, good, that's how it's supposed to work. If you've been using a fuckload of Adderall, it's a bit faster than that. For me, it's about 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, not nice, because I've taken a 20-minute nap, let's say. When I wake up after that, I can't sleep for another 8 hours sometimes.
I have a similar
Yeah.
problem. If I nap at all, I
Don't
can't
nap.
sleep at night. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as bad as you've got.
I can't nap, but I can't nap because I take Vyvanse and shit, so it's impossible for me to nap.
So I only sleep at night, but if I try and sleep during the day, I wake up 2 hours just feeling worse than when I had gone to sleep. I can't.
You can't sleep 2 hours. You have to sleep if you're gonna nap during the day, you have to sleep only 27 minutes or so. Because if you sleep further than that, your body's gonna switch into deep sleep, and you're gonna get fucked.
If I go
Oh,
over
yeah,
five,
just-
if I
You
go
can't
over
you
10
can't
minute
do like
naps,
you
I
can't do
won't
like
Guys,
3 hour
guys,
naps.
one at a time.
Right.
Okay. I did a lot of research into biphasic and multiphasic sleep schedules. When it comes to that, you have to be like, it's very precise and it's very dangerous. Like for the most part, multiphasic sleep schedules are not worth it. It's just not worth it. It really isn't. But you, like basically, if you sleep more than about a half an hour, even less than that, really. Like if you want to get specific, it's less. But about a half an hour, your body switches into more deep sleep, and then that's where that really intense feeling of tiredness hits you for like going into longer sleep phases, like trying to sleep 2 hours.
Hannah?
You're gonna feel worse
Hold
than
on
if
a
you
second,
slept only
Snack,
half an hour.
Snack. Hannah, fuck you. Why did you send me that?
What did Hannah say? What?
Okay.
The scream. She sent me a screamer, and it was annoying.
Oh.
I did not open it because I thought it was porn from Hannah.
Hannah always posts porn, like horrifying, shocking porn.
No, but this was a DM. But Snack, I think you're missing something with what I said. My body will wake up. I don't wake myself up. My body will wake up like 2 hours into it. Like it's not an exact thing. That's more of a generalization
Like,
of what's going on.
Pavros, I have a guess, but I'm guessing it's based on what you just told me in statistics, and I'll explain the statistics part in a second.
Walk me through it.
You probably have some variant of sleep apnea.
I can not
the
deny
statistics,
this.
yeah, the statistics part of that. So, sleep apnea, you stop breathing when you sleep. It really sucks. It's not good for you. I have it too. But here's the funny thing about it. It seems like, oh, that's probably not all that common thing, but everyone seems to know someone who has it. You want to know what the actual rate is?
What?
1 in 3 men in this country have sleep apnea.
Yeah, if fat people got it, that's who's got it.
No.
You are.
No, you have that backwards. Sleep apnea often causes weight gain, not necessarily the other way around.
Really?
That's partly.
Yeah.
Well, part of it.
So
that's why
it's,
I knew it.
Yeah. So when you see someone who's carrying a bit of extra weight that they can just never lose, no matter how much they go to the gym and all that, very good chance it's because it's at least in part because they have sleep apnea.
I've actually. I also learned part of when I started sleeping. I made a regular sleep schedule, and
I had a period where I managed to lose about like 50-some pounds. I had a job working nights, which is great because I love being up at night. Get home at 9, and then sleep till 4. And I slept like a stone. And I found it so easy to drop a whole bunch of weight, and I got back to a regular job, and it all fucked.
Well, that's because your body changed. That's just
some of that might have to do with diet. Yeah, some of that might have to do with diet. Some of that might have to do with metabolism shifts based on schedule. There's a lot of shit there.
Yeah.
But with the sleep apnea, a lot of what's going on is because your sleep's getting interrupted. There's a lot of shit that's supposed to happen during sleep that isn't. And then on top of that, you're also kind of in anaerobic respiration for a lot of shit because you're not getting enough oxygen. So it can be bad. But it's one the reason I don't say a statistic for women is I don't remember it exactly, and the one for men is just obviously.
We don't talk about the inferior sex, so it's okay.
The rate for women is, last I checked, closer to 1 in 5. It's not as high, but it's still pretty fucking high.
Yeah, it's fairly common.
Yeah, and this is
women
amazing.
are fat.
No, like this is amazing to me because when you talk about like medicine and shit, like there's a bunch of shit that everyone's like concerned with, like, oh, you should deal with your diet, you should deal with nutrition, all this stuff, right? But no one fucking talks about sleep, and this fucking persistent chronic disorder that has all kinds of health problems. It makes your blood pressure higher. It makes your risk of sudden death in the night higher. It causes O2 sat problems. It causes all kinds of problems. It causes weight gain, for fuck's sake, right? But oh no. This we shouldn't talk about, even though it's absurdly prevalent. So how many times have you gone to a doctor and been like, oh man, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. There's all this shit going on, and I just kind of feel shitty. They say take some leave and hope it works itself out. Instead of, I don't know, maybe you should go get a sleep study.
Well, 0 times, because here in America it's too expensive to go to the fucking doctor. So fuck that shit.
Yeah, that is
be
true.
honest,
Checkup? No, it's fucking not.
I cannot afford a fucking checkup, dude.
There are cheap and effective doctors. Use a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
does
nurse practitioner or PA is much cheaper, and
Here's
they
the
can.
thing.
Nurse practitioner can do almost basically anything a GP can do, and almost anything a psychiatrist can do at this point.
I got a lump on my inner thigh, and I'm not getting that shit checked out. Fuck that.
Has it been growing?
No, it's
Tender to
like
the touch.
it was. It's not really anymore.
Can you move it, like a little bit?
It's kind of
Yeah.
like it feels like a large pimple, but something it's like deep. It's like deep.
I know that,
Probably a thigh.
If I had,
I know what that is. I know what that is. That's actually a deep zit. I get those on my thigh, and you need
It's
a
not
pop
like a tumor.
Not a
No,
tumor.
well, okay, let me put it this way: how long has it
Wait,
been there?
sorry, I kind of cut you off by accident. Say again.
I have a deep. I get them on my thigh. It's because of when my thighs will rub together. It would basically irritate the underneath. If you pop it, it's got blood and pus underneath there. And once you
Dragon, that's just a fucking zit or a blood, like a
That's
deep
a
zit
cy-
or a blood blister or something.
Well,
That's not
those
the
are
same.
cysts.
No, hold on. If he's got one of them and it's never happened before, it's probably not that. So, better question: how long have you had it?
Well, it's relatively new. I have
Okay,
had another one
let
my
me-
ass for a long time.
Let me
but
ballpark it.
Several years.
Day, week, month, year, multiple years.
Well, the new one is probably like maybe less than a month old. I'm just
Okay,
like,
and the other one's been there for years, and it's the same damn
yeah,
thing.
there's another one. It's just kind of like the other one's just kind of like a lump.
Okay,
My
yeah,
ass. And I'm just like,
what it probably is something called lipoma. It's
Yeah.
basically a benign tumor of fat that once it grows to a certain point, it doesn't grow any bigger. They don't spread. They're not cancerous. They're almost nothing to worry about. The only time you ever have to deal with it is if one of them is in a spot that's like impeding motion of a joint or something, where it's just like inconvenient. That's the only time it's a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
Yeah.
like I don't
No,
know. It doesn't
no,
seem
but
like
that's-
an issue.
Yeah, that's what it probably is. So you probably don't have to go see a doctor about it. It's not a big deal. Yeah, if it hurts, you have an issue. But if it's sitting there and it's just like there and you can poke it and it's just like that's a thing that exists, it's probably just a lipoma.
By the way, speaking of sleep, I noticed when I got into the regular schedule, I used to
Just
watch
like inner thigh, it's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's
Bubonic
and
plague,
that's
whatever.
the thing is they're usually on, like if they form, it's on like upper leg, middle torso. You know, that's usually where they show up.
Now,
So
that being said, you should still probably get it checked out because you don't want to take chances on that sort of shit.
I mean, again, if it's not tender to the touch, you can kind of afford to.
It was originally, but it's not anymore.
And that's generally what happens with them. But like, if it hasn't changed in a while, it's probably fine. You know, it's like when you say like get it checked out or everything. Like, the thing is, if you were to go to a doctor, what they would probably do is look at it and say like, does it hurt? Well, I don't know. I guess it's probably just like a cyst or something. Here, put a warm washcloth on it, massage it every night for 2 weeks, and see if it goes away. And if it doesn't, don't work. Like, we can check again, I guess. But if it starts growing, then come back in and we'll deal with it. Like, that's pretty much exactly what they tell you, because it's exactly what they told me. But the only other thing that they're gonna do is do like a biopsy on it, and that's surgery, so that's gonna be expensive as fuck.
Ugh.
So it's like, what are you gonna get checked out if it's not an active problem? Especially, but like again, if it keeps growing and then starts to hurt and shit like that, yeah, better get it checked out sooner rather than later. But if it just kind of stopped and it's not moving and it's not doing anything, you already have one somewhere else that did exactly the same thing and it stayed the same size for years, it's probably a lipoma, probably nothing to worry about. Of course, if you ask Dr. Google and WebMD, then clearly you have cancer and you're gonna die.
You have ass cancer.
Yeah, you have cancer of the ass. You spread out to your skin on your ass, so you have ass cancer on your ass.
Probably. Fuck me, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
There's a lot of shit that gets kind of dumb. Like, I don't know. with breast cancers, like, it's a really good idea to check them out because breast cancer is a serious thing and all that stuff. But a lot of the things that show up on a mammography are they're like, yeah, they're dense spots and shit, but they're essentially shit like cysts or just kind of tissue buildups that resolve themselves that your own immune system deals with. Mammographies are actually kind of a shit way to detect breast cancer. You know, comparatively speaking, part of the reason why they're so huge is, you know, that pink ribbon like shit where it's like, oh, pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness.
Oh my god, yeah.
That fucking like quote unquote nonprofit.
It's very very for profit.
You know, well that's it's a it is legally speaking a nonprofit.
Yeah, legally speaking.
That's okay.
Fuck.
Do I need to get into the distinction of what a nonprofit versus a for-profit company is?
Oh, I know. No. I know, but I know that like it's something like with the whole pink ribbon thing. It's something like 1%, or it's like It's
okay. No,
The money goes to cancer.
It's not 1%. It's more. It's a bit more than that, but it goes to the wrong places. Here's the thing: the rest of that goes to marketing, advertising, paying the salary of all the people who work there. None of that goes to like the profit of the company.
Yeah.
That's the difference. It's not that's what makes it a nonprofit. Because it's like, yeah, the individuals working there, yes, they absolutely profit. They're getting paid to do that. Nonprofits aren't volunteer organizations, but it's not a for-profit company. It doesn't have a board and like, you know, shareholders that need to that they're accountable to. They have a charter and a mission statement and then some legal obligations. That's the difference. That doesn't stop them from being scummy as fuck.
I know that. I'm talking about the scumminess and the basically it's basically a racket, you know.
Yeah, but don't call it for profit when it's not. That's not what it is. You know, the Red Cross is a non-profit.
I mean, you can call it a I would say basically in legal terms it's not, but it basically is. I mean, like,
organization itself does not hold any fucking profit.
But it's de facto.
Walmart it's not de facto.
It's kind of like saying atheist. Like, well, they're not atheists. They're actually de facto agnostic. It's like, no shit, they're de facto agnostics. But
no. It's a different fucking thing.
The devil's in the details.
No, the reason why I'm getting on your case about this is that nonprofit, like a nonprofit, you know, company or a nonprofit organization, that is a very specific fucking thing. And turn around and say, well, it's not a nonprofit, but it's a nonprofit.
In legal definition, I know.
I'm not just talking legal definition. It's not a fucking for-profit venture. The people working there are absolutely fucking paying themselves out of the fucking coffers and all that, but the company itself makes no profit.
Yeah, I know, I understand that. I'm saying that's sort of a distinction that is more like when a company, when a nonprofit is benefiting, like the money that's going towards the thing is close to 1%, it might as well be for profit.
No, it's not how it works.
No, that's not how that works.
It's not how that shit works.
For-profit companies have investors that they are responsible.
I understand that it's like I understand that.
No.
I'm saying, like,
the reason why it might not as well be for profit is because a for-profit company that has a venture that, you know, does something like giving people shit and all that, is like advocating a cause, gives more of their money than 1% to it. A for-profit venture is more accountable and in most cases more trustworthy because of all the shit they have to have on the books and all the people that they are accountable to. A nonprofit doesn't have to do that.
Even worse, then. It's not even
so
worse.
When you say it's basically a for-profit, it's like, no, don't insult a for-profit venture for
I thought you were going the other direction with it. Okay,
no,
so then we agree.
I'm saying for fuck's sake, no. I agree that it's scummy. I'm saying don't use the wrong fucking words to express your damn point. Because calling it basically for-profit, it's like, for-profit's evil. No, it's not.
For profit, school.
It's just kind of like whenever I see like a booth outside a place and it's like, donate to this thing, I'm like, LO fucking L.
It's like, here's the thing. What you could say is when it's only giving 1%. what you could say is even when it gives like 1% of the stuff, it may as well be a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme or a scam.
Yeah,
or a
it might as well
fucking,
be a scam. Sure.
A Nigerian prince who has all that money. He just wants to send you.
You mean the prince? The prince was not actually
no, he's
real.
never calling you back. I'm sorry, you're just stuck with that
Oh.
chlamydia.
He knows the way.
Do not worry. I am a prince, Gator. I am coming for you, Gator. I will come for you. I have millions of dollars. You just need to send me a few more grand so I can get it in an offshore account.
I have a wife.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Prince Mbongu. I'll do it. Just give me some more time.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So the fucking bullshit like thing with that particular organization with the whole pink ribbon and everything is like, yeah, they're not like the Red Cross where only like 6% of their budget goes to the thing. It's actually more of that for them. It's still a significant amount of money. Here's the problem. All the money that they put into cancer doesn't go to cancer research. It doesn't go to cancer treatment. It doesn't go to even new and better ways to screen. It goes towards mammography machines. And oh, wouldn't you just know it, that the fucking, like founder of this organization has a bunch of stock and is in bed deep with the fucking company that has a corner on the damn market. No, that's not the Medicare industry. That's not the care industry. This is a specific fucking cottage bullshit thing going on between this nonprofit and another industry that the another company that the founder of this nonprofit personally profits from.
It's kind of like when technology. It's kind of like how you have.
No, because it's not medical technology in general. It's this one fucking company that makes all the goddamn mammography machines. So and then you get all these fucking marketing things going on, like, oh yeah, if you're a woman, you should get a mammography every year just to make sure you don't have breast cancer, because breast cancer is a big deal. Breast cancer awareness, guys. And then they sell more and more of these things.
I'm
and that's
pretty
not
sure
to the end
everybody's
user.
aware of breast cancer at this point.
Yeah, it's selling this shit to fucking hospitals. So yeah, it's fucking bullshit. It's fucked up because like you have people over here like, oh yeah, we should give money to breast cancer awareness. No, give money to cancer research. Give money to cancer treatments. Give money to fucking children's hospitals, to fucking like charity hospitals. Don't give money to a fucking glorified marketing campaign that's using the same goddamn treatment procedures that we've been using for the past 20 years, and they haven't gotten any better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on nose.
All we know, everybody knows that cancer exists at this point. We're aware. We're very aware.
Yeah, but with the whole breast cancer,
Cancer is a conspiracy theory. What you guys don't understand
What is this cancer thing?
Well, what you guys don't understand is that cancer is actually something that was put into our genome by the reptilians back when the Illuminati first created them, before the humans really rose out of the muck.
No, you got it wrong. It's the psychic vampires that are gonna turn us all into cyborgs.
Too, but they were actually fighting the cancer because we're like livestock for them.
Cancer is an effective candida, and you have to drink this purified jelly juice.
Oh god.
Cancer's not an effective candida. Candida is actually a Monsanto fucking conspiracy theory.
It's a plant.
What's going on here is that Monsanto made the candida, so you have to drink the chili juice that's been genetically modified by them. They're playing both sides of the market. Wait, what?
I would give so much money to have a drink with Alex Jones.
Dude, holy shit, so
dude.
Seriously.
Like Alex Jones, I think most of the stuff that comes out of man's mouth is insane, but my god, would I have an amazing time just hanging out with him.
Oh yeah. Apparently he is great fun to be around.
Hanging out with one of like the truly talented performers of our generation, like it doesn't matter that it's not true. Like it's like a talent. It's still like insane levels of talent. Like
well, this is why I get on people's
incredible.
Yeah, this is why I get on people's case when they're like, "Oh my God, Bill O'Reilly's like the worst person ever." It's like, no, yeah, okay, he's not a great political commentator. He did know how to run a damn good TV show and entertain the shit out of a lot of people for a long time.
Hey, you got to grow up some hot chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hit the player, hit the game.
It's like regardless of what you feel about the person's politics or their intellect, you gotta respect what they fucking build that they have.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I like Laserfist so much. It's like I don't agree with his politics all the time, but I do respect him for being a big DS9 fan and being big into comics and games and shit like that.
Yeah. And he's one hell of an entertainer, because when you watch that Laserfist video, even if you disagree with him, you're gonna be entertained by it.
Oh yeah, the man.
Are you not entertained?
Have you seen his rendition of the Shadow? Dude, that was
Yeah.
awesome. Dude, when you got Sargon and a bunch of people to come in and do the voices, so good.
I need to go check that out. But yeah, no, Razor Fist is
so good.
interesting. I like one of the things that I like about Razor Fist. I think the first Razor Fist thing I saw, aside from him coming out of the States, was his like why we need the wall thing. And I got to admit, like, I'm not going to say anything about my own personal feelings to the wall or immigration or anything like that, but his point on that, and I don't know who's breathing heavily into the mic or driving or something. I think it's.
I'm actually walking right now. I'm on my patrol.
Just checking. Just you are aware. You know we're good.
Yeah, I'm actually on patrol right now.
Gotcha.
I'm at work.
Gotcha.
You a cop?
Oh,
Watch out for those goddamn Mexicans.
You work security.
I do security. I do security.
Be aware we are on stream right now.
Yep, we are.
Yeah, don't want to get you in trouble.
Yep.
Nobody knows who this. Nobody knows who this is.
Yep.
Okay.
We're good.
Fair enough.
Everything's fine. So, in any case, the fucking bullshit with God damn it, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. Oh, with the wall thing with Razor Fist.
Yeah.
It's like, regardless of what I think of that argument or anything like that, I have never heard someone argue, other than him, and argue well, that we need a border wall for the good of Mexico.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting response because I live here in San Diego and he's right on the money.
Yeah.
I had never considered that point. I had never thought about it exactly that way. I thought about it as, will this work, for America's immigration? Will it, does it make sense for us to do this? Does this work with immigration policy? Does the expense make sense? I'd never heard someone come in and say, look, Mexico needs us to make the wall because they're never going to get any better. They're never going to have any positive fucking change if we let our border be a pressure release valve for them. That's a really fucking interesting point that I would never have considered if you hadn't brought it up. So, fuckloads of respect for Razor Fist because at the very least he can get me to consider things from a standpoint that I hadn't thought of before.
I mean, it's always interesting to listen to people who are like fiscal libertarians and fiscal conservatives because I come from a school that every school of political thought has at least one good idea to contribute.
Yeah, I like that. Except for communism.
Yeah,
Fucking commies.
Communism.
Fucking commies!
Kenyanism.
No, Marx had some good ideas in there.
Kenyanism.
He had a lot of bad ideas. He had a couple of good ideas, but a lot of his shit is very consistently misinterpreted. For example, the part where
about how every politician at some point in their career is going to do something that makes you go.
Yeah. Well, with the Karl Marx thing, it's just like, okay, so Marxism, people are like, oh yeah, this is a template. This is what we need. We need to go forward to that. See that communism thing? Let's make that happen. Whereas what Marx's actual whole thing about that, for the most part, was, okay, so we had feudalism, and then we had like these oligarchies and shit, monarchy, and then you see that move over to kind of an industrialized capitalist state. And then the state's going to start taking care of more shit. You're going to end up with being socialized, and then you're going to end up with a fully social system, and then eventually scarcity's going to go, and we're going to have communism. And granted, he wasn't talking in terms of scarcity, because I don't think he had any concept of how things were going to go, but consider that this is a guy looking at, like, just after Industrial Revolution to some degree, just seeing a lot of this stuff really build out and happen. So he's like, holy shit, automation, mechanization, all this fucking crazy shit that's going on. Look at all this abundance. Look at all this shit we have now. Eventually, we're going to be able to fucking do this because we're not going to need a monarchy in control of everything. We're not going to need a centralized government in control of everything. We're just going to have all the shit we need, and communism happens. He wasn't outlining a template for how to go forward. He was saying that this is inevitably where things will end up because it's the trajectory of society.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. I think he's wrong. But either way, he wasn't saying, yep, let's make a communist state. He was saying, eventually, one's going to happen. Very different statements.
Like, the idea that it will eventually move towards a scarcity-less society, I mean, in a way, I wouldn't say he's wrong. Like, we probably are.
I'd say he's wrong because I don't think communism is the model for that society.
Well, no,
I mean, at least in the way that he said, I mean,
No, the way he outlined communism, by my reckoning, so don't take this as objective fact, but the way he outlined communism would not work for any society ever.
The way that he outlined is undoubtedly wrong. Like, there's communist. there's a lot of communists that exist today that are upset by the fact that we have the social programs that we have now, because they say that makes like the social programs that we have currently make it so the worker is more satisfied with the current capitalistic system and leads them away from the communist revolution that they think should be happening. Like the way that capitalism has managed to address a lot of the issues.
I don't see where you're going with this. What's the point you're trying to make?
What I'm saying, the state of the worker was a lot shittier back in the day than it actually is today.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
and
but that,
so like there's a lot of there's communists that are more like closer to the visions of that, of like the
but that's the problem. No, that's the problem. Any fucking no. I don't think you know where my objection is. The problem is not that, you know, people aren't following Marx's doctrine exactly. The problem is that what Marx put forward was not go do this. It was, this is the way I see things going. It wasn't a workers' revolution should happen. It was a workers' revolution will happen, because eventually that's just how, you know, socioeconomics is going to bring things. So you have people here who are being like, we need to bring in the communist revolution to make it happen. It's like, no, if a communist revolution is going to happen, it will happen organically without you fucking forcing it. So don't force it early.
I know. What I'm saying is that the old communists are upset with the social programs because they think it's setting that revolution back.
What I'm saying is that's fucking retarded compared to what Marx was writing, because the point is this shit needs to happen naturally. So if it's getting set back, that means that the natural time when it's going to come is just farther away. If it were to happen right fucking now, it would fail. That's the thing. So when these people are like, oh no, it's setting it back, it's like, tough shit.
I'm an anti-communist as well. So, you know, I'm also in that camp.
Here's my thing. I'm 100% for free markets. I'm a capitalist through and through, because I believe in markets and all that kind of stuff. But from what my understanding, based off of the way Marx presented it, is if we got to a point where literally you could turn around and make a computer out of nothing, like there was
like
no
Star Trek?
But there was no rarity of anything. You could create a planet in a day. There was no just eventually that when you lose rarity of something, it goes down in value. It has things that are a lot more abundant, have less value.
In other words, when nothing is scarce, nothing has value, because everyone has as much of it as they could ever possibly want.
And therefore, that's how Marx viewed this future that that is being presented in his ideas, is that there won't be a market, because nothing will need to be divvied out to specific people who want that thing, and that's the reason why I disagree that it will ever happen, is because I don't think that we're ever going to get to a point where there are so many just anything that literally everyone on Earth can have it 100 times.
And this is much of the problem with Marx's
Well, hold up. Before you launch into it, we've been going for just about 2 hours now. I'm gonna go ahead and do a sign off for everything. If you guys would like to, give your own sign offs and whatnot.
I'll go ahead and say, ladies and gentlemen, this is Wafflethorpe speaking. Jables isn't with us right now, but tune in every Sunday at, I want to say, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard?
5, something.
Whenever Saints is over.
Late afternoon.
Yeah, roughly 5:30 Pacific Standard for the Lesser Saints of Discord pre-show to Saints stream. So join us then. Have fun. Good night.
Right.
This is Snack Beats, and this is Snack Beats here. I just want to say, Viva la Revolucion.
Dude.
Let the communist uprising happen.
Oh, god damn it.
Who just dropped in?
Show my own.
Alright.
So this is Poveros, one of the 3 on Locked other week on the Saturday nights. Tune in. I think we do it at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Locked and Loaded? What's your channel?
It's Sergeant Buck is the channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Buck's channel.
I shall subscribe. Let
Mhm,
me
you
subscribe right
should.
now.
You
I'm gonna
should,
subscribe right
you
now.
should watch it.
Should I do one?
Yeah, go for it. if you want.
Go right ahead.
This is the Fightin' Hobbit. I don't have a channel, but I'm here because Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged is over.
That's a good reason too. Yeah.
That works.
Yours.
My name's Dragon in the West. You can find me at my channel Hollow Dan, where I do largely social commentary, whether it's commenting on social conflict or just stupid shit in general. I like to comment on stuff because I get bored and I like to hear myself talk.
You're not alone in that. I like to hear
Alright.
myself talk. So before anyone says anything, Charlie Mouse did have his sign off. I'm going to read out for him. This is Charlie Mouse saying, "You can milk a cow, but lobsters are very ticklish."
Well put, and a great point to lead off on. Alright, I have been Gator, your great emperor of... what the fuck did I call it? Well, we'll work on the name on that.
The Aftersaints. Discordia.
The Kingdoms of Discordia. The Emperor of the Kingdoms of Discordia. Bidding you all a fine farewell and a, hopefully a warm palm, and see you next week.
Louder.
Alright, love you. Bye.
Adios.
That's gay.